Hello, everyone. You know what's going on. It's the 13th of the month.
June 13th to be exact.
Do we have to tell you what's going on? If we do, a bit disappointed lah, but you know, we'll live. Welcome to Dead Air. If you're not familiar, I'm Wayne. That's Kyle.
Yep.
We're the co-creators of Ghost Maps. Today is a very special episode of Dead Air. Because yes, it's the 13th of June, and that means, of course, it's episode Dead Air, but also 13th of June is also a very special date. Kyle, do you want to tell them why it's such a special date?
I think it's better if you tell them. It's a bit weird, right? If I tell them.
Hey, I'm shameless, so I would have happily told them if it was my special day. No, it's Kyle's birthday today.
Yeah.
We have a special birthday episode for Kyle. I say for Kyle, but
no, it's not.
Yeah, it's not just for Kyle.
If you've seen the artwork for Dead Air, right? It's both of our birthdays. So I'm born on the 13th of June, right? And Wayne here is I didn't plan it. he's born on the 15th of June. So not like normally. So that's why we are partners in crime lah. I guess that's probably why.
Separated by 2 days, but many years. Kyle, how old are you this year, Kyle? How old are you today?
I'm 29 today.
29.
Yep.
I don't remember 29.
Okay.
I'm like I wanted to go like, oh yeah, I remember when I was 29. I don't remember 29 at all.
Yeah.
Let's see whether people can guess my age.
Yeah. We'll see.
Confirm gonna see a lot of like ages like 85 or something.
No,
like
but we should cheers.
Oh yes, of
cheers
course,
to our birthdays. So Wayne's birthday is on the 15th. Mine is today, 13th. So cheers.
Happy birthday.
Cheers
Kyle.
to good health. Yeah.
To good health.
Okay.
To us not becoming ghosts anytime soon.
So hi, Abigail.
Hello, Abigail.
Nice to see you.
Let's go. Let's go indeed.
Yeah. Ong, happy birthday. I have no comments for that.
You know what this means, right? Now all our fans are gonna start calling you Ong.
Yeah. I don't even know why I flashed that comment. But
I know,
everybody can see
You're
it
asking
lah.
for trouble, lah.
Yeah.
Before we jump into our usual dead enders, new episode of Ghost Maps went live last week. Yeah.
Last Thursday.
That's right. This one was inspired by whose story was it? Do you remember?
This one was Lysing story.
But it's a bit of a mix as well. Like the setting is not exactly what it was. We kind of mixed up with other creepy stories that were set in similar locations like sports clubs and those kind of places. So it's a nice little mix of
one very specific sports club.
Which we won't talk about, of course.
I will lah.
Well,
in Changi but there's only one lah, so you can Google it and then you probably find where's the actual location.
The Changi Sports Club for Ghosts, I believe it's called.
Yeah. Actually, I feel like the whole Changi is pretty much like for the ghosts for the HANTUs. Like if you were to draw like if you were to draw like a map, right, in Singapore, right, then you put like Changi, just put HANTU.
That should be the slogan for the Changi neighborhood. Changi, neighborhood for ghosts.
You know what that means? That means
we're not moving to Changi anytime
That means
soon.
we are moving to Changi.
We love you, Changi. I was just there the other day at Changi Village having drinks with a couple of friends. So yes.
Yeah.
So we do love you. But you are a creepy place.
So thank you, Abigail.
Yes, we are spooky lads.
Spooky lah, but not lads anymore lah.
Hey. Laddishness is in the heart. I am still very much a lad. I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure.
Mr. Crocodile. The birthday wish.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crocodile.
Yeah.
To everybody tuning in, if you don't know us personally, try to guess my age. That will be the theme for today's episode. That's not the theme for today's episode. The theme for today's episode is birthday-related ghost stories.
And ghost stories.
But
as usual.
Just
always
generally ghost stories.
Always with the ghost stories.
You can assume that it's going to be ghost stories. It's just what kind of ghost stories and how... Well, okay. See, I was going to say that every episode you're guaranteed 2 things. 1, Kyle will be drinking tiger beer, and 2, there'll be ghost stories. However, today... Kyle,
it's a special occasion, so that's why
we're being very classy today.
Yeah, so red wine.
So yeah, if you guys have Looking 37.
Wow. Yeah, Wayne is definitely younger than me. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, we'll get into the we want you guys to send over or tell us about your own ghost stories, whether if you have ghost stories that are connected to birthdays, doesn't have to be your birthday, but if you have ghost stories that are connected to birthdays, please share those with us as well. We'll talk about some of our favorite birthday ghost stories that we found online as well, and share our own. I'll kick things off a little bit where this is one I think I've told like at least 5-6 times on Dead Air. It's the one where I saw like what I assume, what everybody seems to be calling the werewolf of that particular neighborhood, where I saw like this huge beast and everything. The whole like that. For those who don't know, I was at a party and it was a birthday party. It was a house party, but it was a birthday party as well. And I think it was way past midnight, and some people were napping, some people were chatting and everything. I decided to go for a walk, so I left the birthday person's condo and I started walking down. It's very not poorly lit, but not very bright. I'm not saying that the road is stupid, but a road with very few streetlights, and it's one of those lanes. It's not on the main road. It's quite a well-to-do neighborhood. I was walking down and I was passing by like a school, and near that school, obviously there's an area where they dispose of rubbish. In the area where all the rubbish bins were, I saw like two red eyes staring at me. I was a young man at the time, and I can assure you that I was not having any of this. So I was absolutely sober, and I knew what I was looking at. At worst, it could have been I was very sleepy, so maybe that's why I started seeing things. But yeah, these two red eyes were staring out at me, and next thing I know, what looks like a very big dog starts walking out, growling. I didn't get the best look at it because I turned and I started running, because that's what you do when you see a beast that was my height, like start growling and like walking towards me. And I ran and I ran and I looked behind. I know it was chasing me. I didn't get like a good look at it. I know it was chasing me. I know something was chasing me. And once I crossed a junction, I turned around, gone, nothing. It wasn't like it stopped at the junction and then just stared at me. It was gone. So it wasn't my birthday, but it was a birthday party that I was at when I saw that. So that's I think that's probably one of my go-to ghost stories. Not exactly a ghost lah, demon, maybe supernatural story. Werewolf, yeah.
Werewolf.
It's such a weird thing for me to say werewolf. I know like we make the joke that it's the werewolf of that neighborhood, but like for some reason I'm sure I've read a little bit about how Singapore had were tigers, but I've never. I'm sure you have you heard any stories about werewolves in Singapore?
No lah, other than like the urban legend lah.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only one I heard.
Yeah.
Which is quite weird considering that we have the were tiger, which I do want to read more about. But yeah.
So for our non-Singaporean friends, right? There were rumors that not rumors are like urban legend and chain emails where there is supposedly a werewolf on the loose in the northeastern part of Singapore.
Yeah.
But trust me, even back then, like Singapore is so small, right? Definitely could have gotten like actual imagery. So I call bull on that.
The running theory among some people is that it's me when I don't shave. This is just a few days, so you imagine me after 1 week.
Could have been your reflection that you saw.
Yeah, it could have. It says a lot about me that I saw my reflection and then freaked out and started running. Yeah, that's some weird psychological.
But that
stuff.
was Thor, right?
You said that was Thor?
No, Thor.
Oh, okay.
Like, the
it was my height.
Oh.
Like it was on 4 legs, but it was my height.
It was on 4 legs and it was your height. Damn, that must be big.
So it's if it's a dog, that's a huge dog. I'm quite sure it's illegal to have a dog that size,
actually,
no matter where you live.
That one, that, and red eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Red eyes.
Red eyes. The first thing I saw before I saw anything else, I saw red eyes staring out at me. So at first, like again, it's like past midnight. So I was, if it was just that, I could just brush it off and like, oh, I'm really sleepy. Then I heard the growling. Then it started chasing me.
That particular location, I mean, northeastern Singapore is well known to be very creepy and has a lot of supernatural activities for some weird reason.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say where it is, but it's that area, that general area itself. We have more than a few episodes of Ghost Maps set around the area, so in different neighborhoods of the area.
Yeah, you can just go and like dig it up.
Which is, I guess, our way of like, getting people to listen to the archives of Ghost Maps if you haven't already.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was I think that's my only experience with the supernatural on a birthday specifically, not mine. Thankfully, all my birthdays, the most terrifying things that have happened to me was that I got drunk. That was it. That
sounds about right.
That's frightening enough already. Yeah.
Actually, I do have a birthday story.
You do?
Yeah, I do have now that you mentioned like getting drunk. So I
Is it a ghost story or a drunk story?
No, it is a ghost story,
Okay.
but I've always doubted myself on it because I was pretty much drunk. But when you're drunk, right, especially when you're blackout drunk,
Yep.
you don't remember a thing. But I remember that super clearly. Like even like after that day, the day after I had the hangover, right? Like I still could remember. I was still questioning myself. Did I actually see it? So this was my 17th birthday. So we celebrated with friends and family at Pasir Ris Park. So that whole area is very
It's questionable.
It's not just questionable. So
I was being nice.
for non-Singaporean friends, so Pasir Ris Park is in the like far eastern part of Singapore, very close to Changi.
Yeah.
So that whole beach, including Changi, has actually witnessed like the tragedy of World War II. So when the Japanese invaded Singapore, there were a lot of I think executions held on the beaches. Yeah. So that place is very active, and on top of that, there's a lot of mangrove beaches. So the area is supernaturally strong lah. But it's still a beach, so a lot of people go there for barbecues and stuff, and it's not like it's empty. So we hang out until like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So I was pretty much wasted already, and a lot of people are still around. I was like, the party had like 40-50 people. By the end of the night, like 2 a.m., about half of them were still there, so 25 people. Yeah. But I remember my dad and I, we were like basically shit-faced. We were super drunk. My dad especially. I wasn't
no underage drinking, okay, people.
I wasn't as drunk as my dad, so I told him like, okay, I'll get you a cab. This was pre-Grab and Uber days, so I brought him out to the main road. So it was a pretty long walk out towards. So it's the beach, and back then they still had the escape theme park. So it's a theme park right beside quite near to the mangroves and the beach. Yeah. So it's the beach, mangrove, then the escape theme park. So I had to walk this long way with my dad. So two of us, and there were still people walking around because it was a. So as I was walking out, my dad was like stumbling lah. I was also kind of stumbling, but I could still walk properly. And then there's this condo, this very low rise condo, I think 4th floor, four stories, very small condos that was directly facing the park and right beside escape theme park. So there's this like short walkway that you go through. As we were going through, right, so I looked towards the condo and I turned left. I looked, and at this point my dad was like holding me for support. So when I look towards the condo, it's the side of the condo, so you could look into the condo. There's like windows, and obviously 2 a.m. most people are asleep. Yeah. But I remember very, very clearly till this day, there was the aircon compressor. Yeah. So like where they blow out the air, right? So there was a woman on the freaking compressor.
Oh yeah, I've heard you that.
That is like super creepy. And she had like her hair down. Like she had her hair down. She wasn't facing me. She was facing like the compressor is like super small. It's like less than 2 meters. Yeah. In terms of wide. Yeah. So she was just standing there and just like looking down. And I was like, whoa. And I was super drunk. I was like, I rubbed my eyes. I stopped. I literally stopped, and I rubbed my eyes like, whoa, it's still there. Then I told my dad, did you see it? Then my dad was like, what? I don't see anything. Then I was like, you're drunk. Then I was like, no, you are drunk. And he's like, no, you're drunk. Then I was like, okay, fine. So I got him to the cab, then left. Then when I turned back, it was still there. That lady was still there.
First of all, I like to believe that your dad did sound like Keanu Reeves. Like, whoa, what?
Yeah. And yeah, so that the thing was still there. So I actually stood by the road for a while because I was a bit afraid to go back because I had to walk back alone.
Were you staring at it?
I was staring at it.
You weren't staring at it.
I was.
Why?
Because I thought I was drunk. I was like, but that is ridiculous because when you're drunk, right? The world will start spinning. Like,
yeah,
you will fall. So I didn't feel that at that point. I was just like very slow with my walking. That's all. But to have a full on hallucination, that is like next level.
No. I'm sure it happens. I've never been so drunk that I see a lady in white sitting on an aircon before.
Not sitting, standing.
That makes it worse.
She was walking back and forth. But when I looked back after my dad got into the cab, I looked back. She was walking back and forth. I was like, nope. So I from then after that, I was like proper freaked out already. So I called a friend. And back then, right, phone calls were pretty expensive. So I called a friend and asked him, hey, can you like get me back to the pit? And then he came. I forgot which friend it was, but he came and get me, and then we walked back. And then I was just like quiet. Then we stayed at the beach until like 6 a.m. the next day, and then we went home. So yeah, that was the story that I just remember when you told me about like getting drunk and stuff. Because until this day I can't wrap around like the whole idea. Like it's just so weird. Even if you logically put it, like, or maybe this person is like sleepwalking. But who sleepwalks? Who climbs outside
onto the
aircon ledge,
yeah,
stands on the freaking compressor at 2 a.m. in the morning, and just like has hair down and walking back and forth, and like you could just fall.
See, when you first told me, I remember when you first told me the story, and halfway through when you said you were walking your dad to get the taxi.
Yeah.
And you saw the woman standing on the aircon.
Yep.
My first thought was, oh, maybe he saw like clothes and like a mop or what lah.
Yeah.
Then you started talking about her like walking up and down. I'm like, no, that's not a mop.
Yeah. So like this one of the greatest mysteries lah. So my own personal theory is that I really did see something. Yeah. I really did see something, because being born on the 13th. You do have. I feel like maybe you're more inclined to the supernatural.
See, I was going to ask that. Do you remember what day it was?
It was the 13th.
It was the 13th, but do you remember what day that birthday fell on? Because if it was a Friday, come on, we're checking now.
No,
come on.
I know specifically. I turned 21 on Friday the 13th. That I'm very, very sure.
Okay lah. Then I don't think your 17th would have. I don't think your 17th would have fallen on a Friday.
Okay, so
but come on.
So 2014 is 21st, right?
Yep. Let's do it.
2013, 20, 19.
Come on.
18.
It probably isn't, but
17. Okay.
No, it's a Sunday.
Oh, it was a Sunday.
No.
But yeah, I mean, when as someone who works in the film industry, there is always a rule where you cannot get drunk on after working hard. You can't get drunk on sets. You try not to get drunk, because when you get drunk, your mind is weak, you're more susceptible to supernatural incidents. So that is one hard and fast rule. Then I feel that yeah, exactly. I feel that like maybe getting drunk and being at that place at 2 a.m. allowed me to see it.
Yeah. No, I've heard that before. Like, I mean, the whole notion of like, whether it's whatever substance that causes your mind to get a bit loose, like it brings you closer to the spirit world, or not necessarily the spirit world, but like, things beyond, not to use our own tagline, but things beyond the ordinary.
Yes, it breaks the boundary and I've always been very sensitive to this kind of thing. So yeah. Actually, I need to go and find like the I'm sure some of the people that I invite, we're still in contact. So I need to go and ask them Yeah. How was it like during that party?
Yeah.
Did they feel anything? Because I'm still very curious.
See, that's the thing I wanted to ask you also, like, because you're born on the 13th.
Not Friday lah.
Not Friday lah. But you're born on the 13th, like, it would be a nice way to nice to like wrap it up and make it sound like this is the case. But I do want to ask honestly, do you think that being born on the 13th, A, that makes you more susceptible to these things? And B, do you think being born on the 13th has drawn you a little bit closer to horror?
Okay, so I need to give some backstory.
Can.
When that thing happened, I was in my golf phase. Yeah, don't judge.
Hey,
golf emo phase lah. So I had I had the whole shebang lah, right?
I tried to have a golf phase.
Yeah, so I feel closer to darkness, even more closer to darkness. So I was like acting like Snape, like Snape from Harry Potter. So I thought it was cool, and yeah. So I think subconsciously, yeah. Being born on the 13th, you feel much closer to the darkness because people are like, oh, we should be afraid of, especially like Western media, we should be afraid of the 13th. 13th is bad. Yeah. But when you're born on the 13th, it's a different thing. You feel powerful because you're like, oh, it doesn't affect me because I'm born on the 13th. I control the number. So you're thinking that's not the reason why we made Dead Air on the 13th because we made Dead Air specifically on the 13th because I kind of wish we didn't lah. If not, I will be drinking right now somewhere. No lah. We chose it because of basically the Western perception of 13 being unlucky. And we like that to tie into the horror content that we make lah. So that's why Dead Air is always live on the 13th. I don't feel anything different. I had my 21st birthday on Friday the 13th, and nothing happened to me.
Nobody in hockey.
It felt creepy lah.
Nobody hockey mask came out trying to kill you, is it?
No.
Okay,
yeah.
That's the most important thing.
That would be a great story though.
It would be a great story. My friend got killed. How? On his birthday, a guy hockey mask came out trying to kill him one.
Yeah.
It's like, that sounds familiar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, maybe don't use machete, use the parang. More Southeast Asian.
Then you cannot use the hockey mask. How many Southeast Asians play hockey? It's not as popular. I mean, it is like a lot. I do know a lot of Southeast Asians play it, but like, how can we make like a football themed horror? Because I feel like that's more relevant to Southeast Asia lah. Football. Okay, football. Maybe wearing football jersey then carry parang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the jersey is like red, but it's drenched in blood.
Yeah, and like ever since Singapore got kicked out of the Malaysian Cup,
you had to bring that up. Okay, I guess that's the start.
No, like he got kicked out ever since Singapore got kicked out of Malaysian Cup, and I love our neighbors up north and everything, but like this guy, I'm not saying it's me. Okay, I am not saying it's me. But this guy, ever since then, right, on the anniversary of that last Malaysian Cup final, he goes out and like kills people, and then he wears like a Singapore jersey.
Oh, there's so many levels of messed up.
I know, right?
I think FAS will come and find you and ask you, hey, I will pofma you. You're trying to start an international incident.
We're not talking about the FAS. He's just like a crazy fan.
But I mean, it could be a very nice fictional story. Fictional story. Yeah, fictional story. Yeah,
sports fans gone crazy.
I mean, I don't want to comment on football fans because I think we have a few football fans here. But I will say this. I think
I like the sports ball.
People who are really into sports, they can get a little bit like. Yeah, they can get a little bit like.
I mean, let's be honest here. Look, in the interest of fairness, people who are into horror can get a little bit also lah.
I think people who are fans of anything can get
yeah. Like there are some horror fans, right, who like really like love it so much to the point in time where they start podcasts.
Oh, nice. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Nice. I didn't see that coming. That's a perfect segue. Let's get some comments. Thank you, Lexi. You want to try pronouncing that?
No, isn't this like this was
the science
chemistry guy?
The science guy.
Chemistry guy. I can't remember what your name was.
No, it was a chemical.
It was a chemical. I'm gonna call you Walter White.
Because Guan Jin, he actually solved it.
Yeah. And
like,
we can't remember it
pretty-
because it was a month ago, and
We are not science people.
we're not science people.
Obviously, right? If we were science people, we wouldn't start a horror podcast.
We're both old. One of us older than the other. I won't
Yes.
say which one. So our memory is not that great. But thank you,
Nice.
chemistry guy.
Thank you, Kelvin, for
Thank
the
you,
nice word.
Kelvin.
Yeah, I kind of wish that my dad had an Angmo accent, but that's just memory, right?
Like I've obviously met his dad,
Yeah,
and just the image of his dad with an Angmo accent.
yeah, it's hilarious.
Imagine
He's
imagine
hilarious.
Kyle, but older and a bit more uncle. Still quite tough, but a bit more uncle. And then imagine that with an Angmo accent.
John Wick,
No lah.
John Wick uncle.
John Tan maybe. lah. John Wick.
Oh, that's nice. Andika, thank you so much. Happy birthday, guys. Here's to a long and prosperous future for the channel. Yeah.
I'll drink
Yeah,
to that.
I'll drink to that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
This is a very good point. Actually, I should. You see, I have so many supernatural like encounters, right?
Yeah.
To the point whereby sometimes I forget,
Yes, you do.
which is a good thing.
Yeah.
if you think about it.
I mean, to be fair, like this isn't when I think of your ghost stories. This isn't even the one that comes to mind first.
Oh yeah, this is
Like-
not the one because it's so random, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, Kelvin is asking, like, would you like to make your story into a Ghost Maps episode? Yes, I think we should. We should. Okay,
You,
we'll make it.
you
happen.
please, if we
If we
if we
forget,
forget, remind us next
remind
month.
us.
Okay.
yeah. Actually, the encounters, right, that I had, like when I see things, right, are the most weirdest one. Like my first sight when I first saw a spirit, when I was 5. My grandfather just passed on, and the funeral was like a couple of weeks ago. Then we slept in his room with my dad, and I heard
John Wick,
I heard funeral procession like music, like the funeral rites music at 2 a.m. I know it was late because I'm not supposed to be out. So I woke up, and then I saw like literally a face like on the window, and the weirdest part was that the face was actually like a face of a white woman, like a Caucasian woman, like picture Mila Jovovich. Yeah, like her, like just on the like the the glass and just like staring into me. Like, and then the music was going on. That's so weird. One, I have not seen any Mila Jovovich films at that point, and I was too young to watch a film. And I have not met any Caucasian woman at that point. I was 5. So but in my mind, my memory, I clearly remember as clear as day that, that is what I saw. And then I told my dad. And the weirdest part was that I told my dad, wake up, there's a woman there. Then he woke up and then he said, there's no one there. It's like, go back to sleep. Then the next thing that I said to him was even weirder. I want to eat hot dogs.
I remember.
I remember this, and I told my dad. I said, "Yeah, I remember you asking me that. That is so weird." I'm like, "Yeah, why the the sightings, right? When I see like sightings, right, like the ones that are clear as day, right, are really weird, like super weird. Like it has to have some humor in it."
The thing is, I forgot the story until you mentioned the hot dogs part.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, is this why you don't like all the Resident Evil movies?
Probably.
You knew that was coming, right?
Yes,
You knew that was coming, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
If you guys ever meet Kyle on the street and you're like, hey, we're fans of Ghost Maps and did and everything, the most important question you should ask Kyle if you meet him on the street is like, hey, have you seen the new Resident Evil movie? Always ask Kyle that, okay?
I've not seen it yet, but I want to watch it so that I can say that it's at least better than the shit show that was. Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on that. Yeah. Anyway,
Wait, I swear, one of these days we're just gonna do one whole episode where Kyle talks about his hatred for the Resident Evil movies.
yeah.
Because you've seeped it into all our episodes at this point in time. Sodium chloride, yes.
Sodium chloride.
I like how I say yes as if I forgot. But yeah.
Yeah. So last question before we move on to more stories.
Yeah.
So Chaos is asking, have I seen shadow figures? I think I should extend it to Wayne also. Have you seen shadow figures? They are like
Yeah.
like
I've been around. This is interesting. There was once where I was with a couple of friends and bear in mind, just to make the story a little bit more embarrassing, we were adults by that point in time. I think we were like 18 or something. And I went to go hide from them. I don't know why. I can't remember why we were doing this. And if I'm remembering the story right, like my two friends who were looking for me, they actually saw shadow figures and they freaked out. And the shadow figures were apparently quite close to me.
Damn.
And they saw the figures and they freaked out and they ran without telling me.
Oh.
So they just left me down. And I was like, I didn't see them. To be fair, where we were, like this, it's the same area as where I saw the wolf and everything. So I've not seen shadow figures. I feel like I felt watched by shadows before, and
Sounds creepy.
it's definitely creepy. I don't know, like I don't have a point of comparison whether it's worse to see like shadow figures and then question yourself like, did I see that? But I almost feel like that sense you get, like, you know, where the shadows are watching you, that feels scarier just because it feels so certain, and it's not like you can question you know, whether you saw the thing, you know that you're feeling it.
Yeah.
What it is, you don't know what it is. Like, yeah. So no, I haven't seen shadow figures. I feel like shadow figures have seen me.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So for me, yes, definitely I have seen shadow figures. Actually it's quite common to see them. I've read up about, like, you know, like, it's basically the spirits hiding from you.
Yeah.
They don't want you to see them, and it was just in time. And it was a glance. It's usually a glance, like, and yeah, they're gone. So nothing to be worried about, you know. With only the ones that you can see clear as day. That's the scary. But you know, with me, there's always some weird backstory, like hot dogs and shit.
Yeah.
So
it's like sea shadow hot dogs. Maybe.
Yep. Sea shadow, then got hot dog.
That does make sense, because a lot of the people I know who tell me that and some of them have actually contributed stories to Ghost Maps, but some of the people that have told me these stories, they don't want us to turn them into Ghost Maps episodes, and you know, we respect that and everything, but it's stories that they told me, and they always, like, these are people who are sensitive. I don't know whether having the third eye is the right way to describe it, but they never said third eye. They just said they were a bit more sensitive to this kind of thing, and a lot of their stories start with them seeing shadow figures. Like, it usually escalates from there.
Yeah.
Or if they catch it in time, they just run. Yeah. But shadow figures always seem to play a part, and it's kind of popped up several times in Ghost Maps as well. I think we have one or a few episodes where shadowy figures are in there as well.
I mean, yeah, it could be a start of a haunting, or it could be just like pure unluckiness. You know, interesting. So moving on. Okay, last we talked about this Resident Evil thing he started it. I didn't even start it.
I absolutely started it. I'll take credit for that. Yes.
So Calvin is saying the new Resident Evil was a bit better than the previous one, but that's my opinion. The games are superior though. Yeah, I like your point of view. I will be the judge of that. But at least one thing that I know for sure is that the new Resident Evil, there's only one. So lesser evil of the whole Resident Evil thing.
Please tell me that was a pun.
It was a pun.
Yes.
The games are definitely superior. And if you want to see us play games, right? Because we're starting this whole gameplay thing. Let us know, like, which Resident Evil games you want us to play. Yeah. Obviously, I'm a huge fan. Then just let us know. Then we'll make it happen.
I'm not sure how many of you guys have seen the episode Law. We did where Carl's doing a playthrough of Ghost Law, and I sit down there and I talk about how little I know about games.
He's the narrator for the characters. Characters.
No. To be fair, the narrator in Ghost Maps knows what he's talking about. I'm down there like, hey, how come you click so fast? I cannot see what you're doing, you know.
Yep.
So that's me. I'm the clueless narrator when he goes through games. But yeah, we've got a video on our channel where we do a playthrough of, what was it, like the first couple of, I want to say stages, but that probably sounds wrong.
Pretty much the first few stages of Ghost Law. Yeah. But we are continuing it now. So
we are definitely continuing it, and there will be a new video soon.
So
soon-ish.
Soonish.
Yeah. So if you want to see us do more of those,
Let us know.
yes, let us know. But if you have games that you want us to
Horror games,
horror games,
Horror
or
games.
we're not going to be playing Super Mario Brothers on here.
No.
Unless of course you find Super Mario Brothers frightening. If you do, nice. You might find it frightening that Chris Pratt is voicing Mariola, but if you know of any good Southeast Asian horror games, let us know in the comments, please. We would love to hear more about good Southeast Asian horror games. We have a few that we're looking at already, but if you know of any, let us know as well.
Yep.
Yeah. I wanted to ask this at the start. I completely forgot. How did you spend your birthday?
Wait, they are saying that our name tags are swapped. Let me just fix it real quick. I mean, it's not from our perspective, but apparently from their perspective, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Thanks for the heads up.
Yes, thank you for letting us know.
So
I did not appreciate being Kyle Ong.
Yep.
He's lovely, but I did not appreciate being him. It was very weird.
So I didn't do much. In short, like I didn't do anything like other than prepping for tonight's live stream. I didn't do much.
So you prepared to spend your birthday with our favorite people, our
yes,
fans.
our listeners. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I
mean, telling horror stories on your birthday is quite fun lah. I mean, it's something that I will do lah since I'm the since we are known as the horror people amongst our friends now. So
it's interesting that
we will tell people like, oh, we are telling horror stories on our birthdays, and they are like, oh, of course you are.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like, hey, what do you mean? At least be a bit more surprised. But apparently now that's a thing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the thing with us. We're the guys that tell horror stories on our birthday.
Speaking of horror stories, we're gonna do something very different this time.
Yes.
We're gonna start digging horror stories from Reddit. Yeah. So
Singapore Reddit specifically.
For now, Singapore Reddit, and we will expand because actually a lot of the stories that we get from it's not from Reddit, it's from user submission and friends and family submissions. Yeah. That's why we thought that it might be interesting if we change it up for Dead Air at least. So we go into Reddit and start reading a few of the stories lah.
And Kyle will read the stories and be serious, and I will make my snarky comments and then get freaked out that, oh no, I made snarky comments about horror story. Am I gonna get followed because I'm the coward of the two of us?
Sure.
Yes.
So this story happened in Malaysia. Okay, this happened in Malaysia.
What's the name of the person who contributed?
The Angry Camel.
The Angry Camel.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's contributed by the Angry Camel. So this happened in Malaysia, but it was a car full of Singaporeans. So he or she was around 11 and 12 years old at the time. So they just left their relatives' home in a kampong at Malacca. It was about 11 p.m.
Confirm you Asian. Confirm you Asian. My people.
So the road out of the place is towards the highway is this very narrow 2-lane road, which with most kampongs are not lit. Yeah,
they're not lit.
So they will have to high beam with their cars. So about 15 minutes into the ride, everyone in the car was asleep except for him or her and the dad lah. So as they were driving past this like dirt road, right, they saw a lady in a not too white outfit. Not exactly a dress, but definitely not white. Not exactly what it is, walking in the opposite lane, but towards the same direction as them. So when they drove past this lady, this Redditor Angry Camel looked back, cannot see any discernible facial features, just because it's dark lah. But he or she felt really creeped out.
Yeah, blank face lah, basically.
Yeah, and then turned to the dad, and then the dad was already looking at Angry Camel lah, and then the dad looked through the rearview mirror, and then he just shook his head, and then they just went on with the journey quietly. Yeah, like cannot sleep the entire trip back lah. But I feel these kind of stories, right? I feel for me, if I was if I saw, I would sleep because I'm 11. I have no responsibilities. I will sleep. Let my dad take the responsibility.
I'm sorry, but you doesn't matter whether you got a responsibility or not. It's not like the ghost is gonna go, he's got no job lah. Let's leave him alone lah. Weirdly enough, right? Not the no face thing. The driving and then seeing somebody creepy. It reminds me of something that happened to me. It wasn't as far as I can tell. It wasn't a supernatural thing, and it doesn't even take place in Asia. It took place when I was visiting somebody in like Texas. So there's a plot twist to this, by the way. I don't think I've even told you this one before. The person I was visiting, we were driving through like one of the American suburban neighborhoods. So like, you know, just your plain normal houses and everything, and not very well lit. And we drove past this one guy who was standing under a street light. And he was just like, as we drove past, he just followed us like that with his eyes. He just like glared at us. He wasn't doing anything. It wasn't like he stopped under the street light while walking and then he saw us. He was already standing there as we were driving by. The plot twist to this, I mean, we drove off faster because like creepy guy, let's keep driving and get the hell away from here. The plot twist to this is that the whole month that I was in Texas, there was apparently a serial killer down there.
Oh, so that's the serial killer?
Maybe.
Probably.
To make it even weirder, apparently the serial killer arrived in Texas roughly around the same time that I did.
Wait, he's from out of state.
He's from out of state.
Oh.
So apparently, and I'm probably remembering this wrong, but apparently the serial killer arrived in Texas around the same time I did by train. I don't know how they figured it out. And apparently he had left the state a little while after I left the state. So I'm not saying it was me. But yeah, so that reminds me of that. Like I almost would have been, I don't know if it would have been more comforting to know that was like a supernatural entity. Like just, but also
Probably.
but also at the same time, like you're in a car.
No face,
That's the thing. Like I would be more freaked out if that was a supernatural entity. Because if I'm in a car, I don't know how fast supernatural entities can travel. I know if that's a serial killer,
They
he's
can
not running
teleport
after.
that's for sure.
Yeah lah. Serial killer not gonna be able to run after a car.
Yeah.
Wasn't a good car, but you know, can still drive faster than a serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, going back to the Redditor story, right?
Yeah.
I feel that it's definitely a supernatural entity.
Oh, that for sure.
Yeah.
If it's no face, yeah, definitely.
No one in the right mind will walk in an unlit road, like in the opposite direction, in the middle of night, especially in Southeast Asia. Like even in a place, you know, as developed as Singapore, safe and developed as Singapore, right? Nobody will do that because car the car bang you out.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
Yeah, there's cars
You have to already be dead lah. So you're like car.
Yeah. So I feel like it most likely it was something supernatural or probably a super like disturbed person that's just walking in the dark.
See, that's the thing. Okay, what grabbed my attention about that one was the fact that they said no discernible facial features. So I'm assuming it's one of those like where, you know, you see the entity and like, oh no, there's no face.
Yeah lah, faceless lah.
Which is like, okay, I've heard, that's not the first time I've heard that particular trope. Like, obviously it wasn't Malacca. I've heard like, you know, or I've seen somebody with no face in Singapore. And usually it's at Choa Chu Kang. You know, for our non-Singaporean listeners, Choa Chu Kang is where like a lot of the cemeteries are. So
no, the only cemetery actually.
Yeah, well
the last one.
Yeah, the last one. But like, you know, that seems like the ideal place for something like this to happen. But I've noticed that, and it's not just Singapore and Malaysia. I'm sure at some point I've heard like other parts of Southeast Asia where people talk about how they see like people with no face. And I want, because like you saying that shadows spirits that are trying to hide. So I do wonder, like, is there a particular reason why so many people see? If any of y'all know why, you can let us know. If Carl knows why, he'll tell me right now. But if there's like any reason why there's so many like spirits or creatures or entities that just don't have a face, I always wondered about that actually.
I don't know, like, I'm not like a.
Don't say you're not an expert lah.
No, I'm not a ghost catcher lah. So
yeah, that's true.
I have seen one like
What, with no face?
no discernible features. So I wouldn't say no face, more like a blur. Like Slender Man, right?
Yeah.
You know, like Slender Man is kind of like a blur.
Yeah.
And the thing that I saw, okay, so I guess I have to tell the story now.
Yep.
So this story happened when I was 14. It's quite terrifying. So after my school, then I went to my friend's place. I remember the three of us, like, we were just like, walking in the afternoon, like 1 p.m. and we were walking to the bus stop to take a bus to our friend's place. And I walked past this funeral procession.
Yeah.
But like in Singapore, the funeral procession is unlike other countries where usually it's in the church, is in a place of whichever religion you are, or in a funeral parlor. But in Singapore, for the Chinese mainly is held under the housing unit, the public housing unit. So everybody can walk past it. So but culturally we are told to just keep your head down, just shut up, don't say anything stupid, and just walk past. I didn't do anything. I just, be respectful. I just walked past. Yeah. And it was the last day of the funeral. So like by a certain time they have to, send it to the cemetery or something when the procession was done. So when I returned back to the same bus stop, because it's near my place, at 7 p.m. the everything was gone. So the funeral procession was done, everything got torn down. It was like just a normal void deck. So I was walking, and it's this super long walkway that's sheltered. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't creepy at all. It's just a normal evening, and there were people walking around, like walking back home. And 7 p.m. usually people knock off work, students going home. Same, I was just walking with them. But very, very far, I could see like this long sheltered walkway, at least a good 500 meters away. I could see one person standing in the middle of the sheltered walkway, and I could feel that this thing wasn't normal, it wasn't human, because you can't really tell the discernible feature. You could tell that it was a shape of human. It's like a human, with clothes and stuff. But like you can't really see the facial features. You can't really see, but it was just staring right ahead. It wasn't staring at me. I think it was staring beyond me. So I was like, okay, this is either a weirdo or this is something that's And at that point, right, I've never really had that much supernatural experience as I have right now. So I didn't really care, but I was like, okay, to be safe, I'll walk the other way. So this path is straight, right? So I walked the other path, which cuts through a park. So near my place, so I cut through a park. So I walked, and then as I was like a very good distance away from that thing, I turned back and I looked at it out of curiosity, lah. And I swear to God, dude, 2 women just like went through this thing, like as if it wasn't there. And I was like, holy, like it could not be it could not be like a optical illusion. Sometimes when someone walk past, it looks like they are facing through something. It's not, because that path itself is so narrow. So if 2 people walking side by side, right, it's already full. So you can't like walk away from someone. So logically, it doesn't make sense. So these 2 persons just literally went through. Then I ran. I saw that, I ran, and I saw one of my good friends in secondary school, and I told him about it, and he could tell that, wow, this guy is like super scared. So he told me now, after that, we recount the story together. He said, you look like you saw a ghost. I said, yeah, I saw a ghost. I told him, hey, bro, I need to show you something. And I dragged his ass back to the place that I pointed him. By that point, the thing was gone. But it was only like 2 minutes. So I went to the void deck. It was 2 minutes away from where I stood seeing the spirit. And I walked back. The spirit was gone. Nobody can walk that fast, because the whole long walkway, right, can be seen from the park that I was on, from the park that I was in. So you cannot, even if you're walking away, you can see someone walking away. Right? You cannot, it couldn't have just vanished. Right? And apparently it did. So I was super scared. I was like, never mind. Then he knew that I saw something, but he kept asking, what did you see? I said, no, didn't you see? I saw something just now, like a person. But I wanted you to confirm whether it was a person, but it disappeared. Then he's like, oh, okay, I'll see you in school then. Then he knew, he was scared also. Then I was scared. Then I went home. Back then I was still religious, so I did some prayers. And then that was it. I didn't see anything. My theory is that because I walked past the funeral procession, and then that thing just decided to show me, or it's just the lingering spirits.
What was it wearing?
It was just like, I think like probably not even a dress, like a blouse or something.
Also,
it had colors.
It was a female spirit.
It was female. So it wasn't I knew it was female because even though it had short hair, it was wearing some form of blouse that had colors. Okay. I don't know. It wasn't bright colors. It probably like beige or something. They had colors, and I learned recently actually. When there's a reason why people tell you to go away from the funeral procession, especially
Yeah.
in Singapore when they are doing it,
Yeah.
because it's not the spirit of the deceased that you should be afraid of. Yes, you should be respectful. It's the surrounding spirits, because when there's death, right, and there's a funeral procession, the surrounding spirits of that estate will come. They will congregate there because there's death, and usually the family will burn like extra for them. So those are the wandering spirits. That could have been what I actually saw. Yeah, the lingering wandering spirits.
Okay, so you've been to my flat before, so like next to my flat there's a park and there's like a sheltered walkway down there.
Yeah.
So this is worrying me a little bit because there is that kind of walkway. So when you said like
you should see mine. That one was super long.
But also we're childish. But also like there's a walkway next to my place that like, and the lights also like they're not exactly the brightest. And I think I've had like 2 or 3 different funeral processions happen over like the last 2 months near my place. So thanks for letting me know.
No,
that.
you're fine. I've been to your place on that one. You should go to see that one. That one.
No.
Oh, and on top of that, right, on the right side, so the long walkway is on the left, right?
Yeah.
So then the diagonally is the path towards the park. Beside the park, there's an abandoned school.
Walao.
Yeah. So that school, right, is famously haunted. Even my dad knows it because it was beyond. It was before my time. It was actually before my dad's time. So that school is super old. And he said, "Do you not feel like whenever, because the long walkway is like horizontally beside the, it stretches the whole limit of the school.
Yeah.
So you can see clearly the school. It's maintained, but it's abandoned. It's not in use." So he said, "Do you not feel the chills when you walk past it?" I said, "I do." He said, "Yeah, because that place is super haunted." And I remember as a kid, stupid kids, right? We actually climbed the fence. I didn't go because I was a very scaredy cat. So a lot of them went, and apparently one of the kids, he said that he heard people playing piano inside the Great Hall. And I was like, but it's like 10 p.m. Who would play piano in the dark?
I cannot deal with abandoned schools. I cannot.
Yeah. So probably the spirit could have either came from the funeral procession or from the school. And he had like one of those like super tall trees with the the trees with the like hair looking thing.
Yeah.
Those trees. He had those trees.
Because like, okay, remember the I say remember. I literally just told it, the werewolf story, and I said like it was at the rubbish area of a school.
Yeah.
That school.
Yeah. Yep.
So I had like a couple of friends that while the school was still open, I can't remember whether, because it's been repurposed into a bunch of different things over the years.
Right.
So I can't remember what it was at the time. I still remember it as a school. But I had a couple of friends who were in there, and this was during the day. Like this was like bright and early on a Sunday morning. We're talking like 10 in the morning, 11, close to afternoon. So it's not like it was close to evening or anything. And I had 2 friends. This is a secondhand account. So I had 2 friends who were meeting like another 2 other friends in the grounds at the school. Again, I can't remember whether it was still a school at the time or it was something else. They had repurposed it into something else already. And they walked into the school and they were like, they want, I'm quite sure that it wasn't a school by that point in time because like the 2 other friends that I knew had gone to school on there. So they wanted to just have a look around, and they went to some room. I can't remember. I'm going to say it's a music room. And they talking about shadows. Like they saw like shadows in the corner of the room. And the shadows just like move. It wasn't their shadows, even though like, sun coming in and everything, because they could see their own shadows. Yeah. But they saw these 2 shadows in the corner of the room just like quietly moving away. So old schools, I'm like, to me, there's something especially creepy about old schools. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember like going to this school. It's torn down, so I can say it's in Toa Payoh. No, I'm not responding to any questions right now. Yeah. I'm thinking of another story. Yeah. So I was super into urban exploration at that point. It was a couple of years back. So this school is in Toa Payoh. It's facing Braddell. It's at Braddell. But it's Toa Payoh. It's facing the PIE right now. So it's been torn down already. So I remember going to the school for urban exploration, and for some reason I could have went in. I mean, this was early days for urban exploration in Singapore, so it wasn't so like heavily guarded. Yeah. So I remember looking into the Great Hall. All schools have the big hall where they do all their assemblies and stuff. Yeah. I saw a noose lah.
Oh man.
In the hall, in the right middle of the hall, a noose with still the rope attached. And it's like super creepy. I was like, nope, I'm done. I'm done with my photography here. I'm leaving.
Yeah, I think that's why also I'm a bit creeped out by the older schools. I mean, I'm sure like that could have been something creepy, but it also could have been like some idiot kids playing a prank, and then they went into like the abandoned school and they're like, haha, put a noose on there, very funny.
No, but you can tell the noose has been there for ages.
Oh, then
yeah, like it's like, you know, like the rope itself is already like,
oh yeah,
yeah, is there for ages. So
but that's the thing. Like every old enough school that I know,
yep,
somebody always has a story about, and we've said this before. We're very conscious about this. We try not to. I think maybe we've done one, and after that we've stopped. But you know, we try not to do stories that center around suicide, because it's a very sensitive topic.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, like every old school, I've heard at least one story for every old school about, like, you know, these like suicide cases in the school, and that's where these stories come from. And you know, I've had people tell me these stories, but I think like I said, we've only really done one story about suicide on Ghost Maps, and we've not done any since then, and we don't want to, because it's such a sensitive topic, and you want to be,
it could be triggering also.
Yeah, it could be triggering, and you want to treat these kind of things with respect. So
of course,
but that, I mean, if we're talking about old schools, that's what gets me creeped out. I like how we're talking about like ghost stories, and I keep saying old school. I was like, oh, that sounds so cool. Old school,
old school, yeah. So let's move on to some comments. There's quite a bit of them.
Oh wow, okay.
So Kelvin is saying that Reddit stories are really creepy sometimes. I actually spent, like, remember way back in the day where we were in lockdown.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of my downtime reading Reddit stories. It's very, very creepy. I'm not sure if they are true, but very entertaining nonetheless.
I've read some pretty like, not just Reddit, but like, you know, all these different threads of ghost stories, and a lot of them are very creepy. I try not to read them now because I'm worried they might affect the writing for Ghost Maps.
Try not to lah.
Yeah.
So hi WSA.
Hey,
you
WSA.
Also very handsome.
Oh, you.
So
I can't remember what our we came up with a theory for what his acronyms stood for.
I forgot. I think your name.
No lah. I remember the S stood for solid. I can't remember what the rest of it stood for.
So Calvin is saying that, like, having an encounter with serial killer in real life would be way scarier than meeting a supernatural entity. Of course.
We absolutely agree.
Yeah. Because serial killers, like, when you meet one, probably we become the next victim lah.
Yeah. I like I think it was Guang Jin that came up with the we've discussed this with both the true crime podcasters that have appeared on episodes of Dead Air, Guang Jin and Teddy from A Briefcase. Guang Jin's from Heinous, a true Southeast Asian horror, true Southeast Asian crime. I can't remember the full name of it. It's called Heinous. Just Heinous. Sorry, Guang Jin. But yeah, like he had that. We were talking to him about it, and he said, you know, you could meet benevolent spirits. Like, not all ghosts, not all supernatural creatures are going to be malevolent.
Yep.
But you can be absolutely sure that if you're meeting a killer, they're not killing you for good reasons.
Oh yeah, that's definitely, like, so you roll the dice on that, right?
Yeah.
Like when you see a spirit, roll the dice, but when you see a serial killer, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I think both Teddy and Guang Jin agreed on this, which is people are far scarier than supernatural. Like, just in general, it's horrifying just to think about the things that people themselves do.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's true. So, Faith Akara
84. Yeah, I'm assuming that's it.
Maybe that's what differentiates them from humans. Yeah, like maybe like the you know, distinguishing features of the spirits are what differentiates them. Shadows, lack of face, long hair, flying.
Yeah.
But if you look down, you can tell like they have no feet. Most of the time they have no feet.
Yeah. That could be it. But also, like, that could be maybe the like different kinds of spirits, and like that's how you tell different spirits apart.
Yeah, Timothy is saying like they forgot how they look after a long time
Oh,
and
wow.
are unable to manifest as clearly. I
like that.
Or it could be a reverse, like because they are so new, they don't have the power to manifest at all. So they still need to, feed to get the power to manifest. Because the ones that can manipulate space and actual reality, like things, right, that we can see physically, are the ones that are more powerful. You would think that, right?
I like that. I like both those series, but nice one, Timothy. Yeah.
Andika is saying, or the face are still rendering. Probably lah. So you got the circle thing. I dare you to go and tell that if the next time you see a spirit, go and tell, your face still rendering, bro.
First of all, it's nice of you to think that I will be brave enough to try and have a conversation.
No,
with
I'm
the
saying
spirit.
Andika.
Oh, okay.
You go and tell the spirit, hey bro, your face still rendering. What time already?
Update RAM a bit lah. Come on lah.
So, I guess that's your shadow reflecting off the back mirror. Yeah. It could be. I think the first thing that we as humans do when we see something that we cannot explain, we will try to find an explanation for it.
Yeah.
When we can't find an explanation for it, we run.
Yeah. I think
it's always in that order.
No. I feel like it's the running, and while you're running, you'll think of an explanation for it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm being silly but running, but God, I'm just in case tower.
Yep. Yeah. So, the school with willow trees is KS is asking which school for the long walkway story that I have. It's in the eastern part of Singapore.
Yeah.
One of the largest towns in Singapore, actually, eastern part. So you can't miss that. There's only 2. Yeah. So it's so old it doesn't even have a name, the school. That's how old it is. Yeah, because it's a temporary school for certain schools, so they will move in and out. Most of the time it's empty. Yeah, but it's maintained.
I think I know the one you're talking about, but I'll ask you.
I'll tell you later.
Yeah. If you're asking about like the school from my story, I'm not gonna say which one it is.
Oh yeah,
I'm not. Absolutely not gonna say.
But I can tell you the northeastern part of Singapore.
Oh yeah.
That place is power.
Yeah.
A lot of private estates.
Yeah.
So and then again, Asian horror not only southeastern, almost always dabbles with school. Wondering if it's due to the liminality of empty schools or the pressure of being in school. Actually, that is true. I think all horror stories, right, do have like a huge amount of it being set in school.
Yeah.
It's just that I think Asians, we are very academically driven. So
speak for yourself. I'm not.
I'm not lah, but I'm just saying like our culture, Asian culture, we want to strive for the best. So a lot of tragedy lah. Let's leave it as that. A lot of tragedies always happen in school.
Yeah.
And I guess you also, what you're mentioning is it could be psychological, right? It manifests into something that is very, very scary.
Yeah. I think it could work in both ways in that case. Like it could be your mind like manifesting something because you're under pressure, or it could be because you're under pressure that thing manifested. Yeah. So it worked.
It's also my personal take on this. It is because of a space. I feel like space that is not used properly, they tend to attract a lot of yin energy. Then negative energy, they will congregate there, and then it becomes, you see, abandoned places always. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Chernobyl is super like haunted, like with a lot of supernatural, because it's so empty, right? There's nobody there. Same with schools, because it's a temporary space, so there at night there's nobody there. Like even like in afternoon, like it's mostly empty. Nobody will stay in the school. So a lot of lack of energy, I guess. Then have spirits lah. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. One last comment, then we move on to another story.
Yeah.
So thank you, Julia. She's saying, "Happy birthday! Have your cake and eat it too."
Did you have cake today?
Not yet. I'll have it later. I have cake. I can share mine with you.
Oh, thank you.
Really nice cake.
I don't know whether I'll be having cake for my birthday, but yeah.
Yeah, but we have wine.
We do have wine, yeah.
Okay, on to the next story.
We have wine and the best listeners around.
And okay lah, I wouldn't say best ghost stories lah.
Best listeners.
Yeah, best listeners.
Our fans are the best.
Okay, so I've read this one. This messed me up pretty bad when I read it because it's quite sad actually. Okay, so it's from Black Brunt Scare. Haven't gone to Singapore yet. Then, by the way, these stories are like 1 or 2 years old already.
Yeah.
Haven't gone back to SG because of COVID. So he's gonna drop some ASEAN ghost stories instead. Back when the OP was in high school in Thailand, one of the PE teachers actually had a heart attack and passed away. So, but he's a super like kind guy. He is an organ donor. So, because he's too old for organ donation, he donated his entire body to med school to be picked up and preserved for the med students. So a year later, OP is studying a class taught by the teacher who is his wife, the PE teacher's wife, and she shares a story about a group of med students who are studying in an anatomy lab with that same PE teacher's body. On the night before the test, right, the kids were like crunching like before the test the night before, so they were like just doing their studies and stuff. But they, of all places to crash, they crashed in the science lab with the body. Yeah, of all places to, I mean, okay lah, I get it. If you're studying med right, if you're a med student, right, you're most likely an atheist. You're most likely not religious. You're like, this is the end of life. Human, this is it. This is the dead body. That's it. There's nothing beyond, right?
I know I was gonna save my smart ass comments till the end, but I have to jump in now and go. I mean, of course they're sleeping down there. It's dead quiet in there. What?
Nice.
Thank you. Carry on. Sorry.
So so they slept. They fell asleep, but then throughout the whole night, all of them felt that they were being shook and woken up. And by the morning, all of them, they woke up in time lah.
Yeah.
Then they all had the same dream of the PE teacher coming to wake them up, grabbing them by the shoulder and shaking them. And this is his usual method of waking his students when they fall asleep in his class and tell them to get their shit together for the test. So because they fell asleep, so they were almost late, if not for that spirit. So the med students actually made it to the lab 5 minutes before the test started. So it's kind of sweet, it's kind of sad, like he's still there.
I like these kind of stories. I honestly really like these kind of stories where because like, I mean, it's like what Kwok Jin was saying, like, you roll the dice when it comes to meeting the supernatural.
Yeah.
Are they going to be scary? I mean, they will be scary, but what are their intentions? Like, are they there for malicious? And I think that's why I enjoy the horror genre or what, because it's not just, yes, it's scary, but also at the same time you get stories like this and it's sweet and it's sad as well. Yeah.
But I mean, I have a more cynical approach as usual, right? I feel like it's so pragmatic. Asians, we are very, very pragmatic creatures, very, very pragmatic humans.
Again, speak for yourself.
We, even after death, we still continue our professions. There's like obsession, like you still do the job that you're still helping people. I think that's really brilliant but at the same time, like, bro, you should go somewhere else and chill like you're dead, you're dead, like just chill, like, but it's nonetheless a sweet story.
It's I like, there was and to be fair, I've seen it used for like not just spirits but like zombies as well, like the zombie stories where the dead, because they don't really remember who they are after they die, there's almost like a muscle memory, so they kind of do the things that they did in real life, but now that they're dead, they're doing it as
Fido. Are you talking about Fido?
Well, I was thinking more Shaun of the Dead, but yeah lah.
Fido the zombie.
But I've heard that about like just ghosts in general.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I mean, it could basically muscle memory lah.
Yeah, it's nice that we jumped into that story after we were talking about like how creeped out we are by empty schools as well. This was supposed to be the birthday episode. Now we're talking about schools.
Okay, so this is kind of sweet and scary. Let's go. Let's like ramp it up. I have one. Okay. Okay. I think this is pretty creepy. Okay, so are you guys ready for some army stories? So this is actually set in army. Okay, I'm not gonna mention the camp, because we don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
But this is from OP, the Cow Unicorn.
Interesting.
So this story is set in Singapore. Is set when this OP is actually serving his national service as an army personnel.
Yep.
The camp is in the northern part of Singapore. There's a few of them there. Not gonna mention what, but famously haunted. One of the most haunted ones.
Oh yeah.
So while out prowling at 2:30 a.m., OP and his buddy were like doing their usual route, and he says that if his memory serves him right, it's about his third and last cycle of the night. Okay, so for people who have not served in the army, when you do prowling means like patrolling.
Yeah. Just
essentially you patrol around the perimeter of your camp. You have a set amount, basically security guard lah, right?
Yeah.
And they go by cycles. The cycles is usually for about an hour, right? About an hour.
I think it depends on how.
Yeah.
Like more or less it lasts an hour.
It lasts an hour
Yeah.
because depends on the size of the place.
Yeah.
So the first two cycles of the prowling was uneventful. As it was done in the late afternoon and earlier part of night.
Yeah.
And I presume because he say that is because he's on shift basis.
Yeah.
So he's actually staying in the camp itself.
Yep.
So there's shifts. That's why it's weird. It's weird timings.
Yeah.
So as for the 2:30 a.m. round, right, they were feeling exceptionally hot and humid. And in Singapore, that's pretty normal because it's pretty hot and humid nights. And then they shrug it off as, just Singapore weather. And then they went through the medical building. So this is used for the medics. And went through their training field. Because when you are prowling, you actually have some equipment. So it can be heavy.
Yeah.
After a few kilometers. So they started, getting drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
Then they walk towards the live firing range. But of course, it's not in use. If it was in use, they will divert the course. So they walk the diving range and then they go down. After the diving range, there is a super long slope. So this long slope, right, actually, when you climb up, is on top kind of like a hill. And you can see a stretch of a highway that's right beside the camp. And then on this hill itself, right, where it's facing the highway, you could actually feel the breeze.
Yeah.
And he says that you sometimes can hear the insects doing their mating calls, like the beetles and stuff lah. But at this point, at this third cycle of their prowling sequence, right, they didn't hear anything. It was almost as if like all the bugs went home, like just super quiet.
Check out for the night.
And 2:30 a.m. In the morning, because so late, he and his buddy were not in the mood to talk lah, because it's so late. As they pass down towards the bottom of the slope, he can feel something tickle the back of his neck. So feels like a beetle lah or a cockroach. So he just swiped it off lah, and then scolded it lah. And the moment he swiped off like that thing that touches the back of his neck, right, he can hear a cackling laugh, right, in the treetops on top of the left of his shoulder. So like the trees on the left lah. So super tall trees. So in a lot of the army camps in Singapore, they are surrounded by tall trees.
Yep.
So and because they are also near jungles lah. So he can hear, and then immediately he's like, oh shit, every hair on his body like stood up, and then. Like I said, when we humans, we see something or we hear something that's not normal, we'll be like, okay. He starts trying to lie to himself. It's a bird, it's a bird, it's a bird. But it's 2:30 a.m. in the morning. No bird will start cackling at 2:30 a.m. And it does not sound like a bird.
Yeah.
And he tries to convince himself so hard in his mind, right? Initially, he thought that he was the only one who was bothered by it. Until like halfway walking, right, his body was like, oh, that was unsettling. And then like he says that his body is this super gung-ho guy. So imagine like you're super like jacked up, like guy who's
really into the army.
Yeah, who's really into the army, and he aspires to join the commandos, the elite forces lah. And then it never hit him that like this guy doesn't believe supernatural. He's the last guy that would. But then to see him actually being bothered by the laugh, right? Like he was like super scared lah. And then after a few seconds, of looking at each other, and then they started running lah. So he said that, okay, I'm not gonna go into details, let's just say that we completed a 2-hour prowl route in 40 minutes. And being the dumb cadets, okay, so because in army you got certain rank, so they were at that point they were still cadets, they were trainees, basically. Yeah. So being the dumb cadets, still kena the supernatural. They got the supernatural already, right? They still went to check in at every checkpoint because they didn't want to get in trouble, and they did it in full sprint, point to point with their equipment. And I have to give it to them, because it goes to show, right, how afraid you are of your supernatural, like of the supernatural beings. You're like, hey, I don't want to get charged.
Correct.
Because when you abandon your duties, you AWOL, or like, you just, it's not just extra, you might get like charged, like actual military charges to you.
Like, don't even go that far. Like, if you ask me to choose between, let's say, my old Encik when I was in the army versus like supernatural creatures, right? Supernatural creature, I'm willing to roll the dice.
Yeah.
That's not an invitation. I'm just saying that my Enciks were very scary.
Yep.
So I completely understand.
You don't need to worry about it already.
What, the Enciks or the supernatural creatures?
The things in camp. You're not going in camp anytime soon.
I know lah, but still, just in case lah. See, that brings up my next point. You all still haven't guessed how old I am yet. Somebody said 27. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. We both know that's not true.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that is quite a common occurrence. And wait, did we have that conversation of like, okay, so the first thing, right, that I thought of was, what about the crest?
That's true.
Because in Singapore, right, like because we are a multicultural society, so apparently the crest, the beret the crest of the Singapore Armed Forces, is supposedly blessed by
all the major religions.
I feel like that's like I don't think so.
Well, I mean, okay.
Who would logistically, like let's just put it logistically, who would have the time to do it?
I mean, I can see that's,
and 7 major religions.
Yeah, but
who would have the time to go and do it, and who would QC it?
Well, I'm sure that all the major religions, let's say, play devil's advocate, that let's say that this is true, that all the major religions were blessed. I know I'm gonna screw this up. I'll say it too fast and I'll say it wrong. Will bless the crest. I said it right. Will bless the crest for every single beret. Let's just say,
Okay, fair enough.
Let's just say that's true. I'm sure that every single major religion has a representative that's designated to do this.
Fine. But
it'll take a while.
But I feel like, and I'm not, I mean, this is just my own, point of view, and just me, I being very logical. I think the effort is way too much for this, because first, you need to bless it 7 times from 7 different religions. How do you even execute it? Second, there's how many berets are there in Singapore? Every week you have to bless. It's like, and how do you QC it? Because you cannot QC.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You can't QC whether if it works, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe for certain units, not every single unit, and I think that the rumor is a placebo effect. Legit is a placebo effect. If today, right, if today a religious man comes there, win, you got holy power. You don't need to worry, man. You can go out any time of the day. Nothing will touch you. You will feel like you're super empowered. You're like, oh, wow. Me being me. I'm not afraid of anything. Right? No, it's a placebo effect. It's like eating vitamins, right? That are like Tic Tacs, but it's not really vitamin. You eat already, you feel healthier.
I get your argument. I agree with your argument. However, if a religious man came up to me and said that I am untouchable, we both know I'm too much of a coward to go, oh yeah, no, I'm untouchable.
No, okay.
I get your point.
Fair enough, right?
I get your point, yes.
So, I mean, we don't want to get into the whole like the conspiracy theory lah, but I feel like, even if they had the crest, because certain camps in Singapore is pre-World War II.
Yeah.
They are so old. So certain creatures have already, set their nest there. Yeah. And pretty sure that what they've met was Miss P.
I've never heard it described. I've never heard it described as a nest before, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it could be a nest, right?
I don't know. Okay, let's assume that the whole blessed crest, I can't believe I'm getting it right. The whole blessed crest thing is real. let's say that somehow they managed to do it for every single unit. Then see, my theory is that guy just got tickled in the back of his neck. If the crest wasn't blessed, can you imagine how much worse it would have been?
Could be.
Yeah.
But I've also learned that, because they're carrying guns, when you're on Prowling, you're using live ammunition.
Yeah.
It's just that you never load them lah.
Yeah.
Spirits are particularly afraid of guns.
Really?
Not that you can hurt them with it. Because guns, they have an aura of killing. It's meant to kill.
Alright, okay.
It's a product to kill.
Yeah.
So naturally, there is a killing aura to it. So they're afraid of that.
Yeah.
Ones that are human anyway lah. So if it's a spirit, you have a gun. Oh,
So-
I think there's some logic in that fact that you were once a human. This is a gun. You see
Okay.
someone with a gun, you're like you're a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like that would have made a factor, but I also think that whatever is there has an agreement already. Like you can disturb them, but don't kill them.
Kacau, don't hantam, can already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay lah, fair enough lah.
So yeah, but it's a pretty scary story because I can imagine, right, just the two of you, and then this super gung ho guys like, well, that was creepy.
Okay, that's the other thing that struck me about this. Like how I hope, what was the OP's name? Like the unicorn cow or something, right?
Yes.
The
cow
cow
unicorn.
unicorn. Okay, I hope the cow unicorn was at least as fit as his buddy, because if the guy is a gung ho commando, right,
Yep.
and he started to run, right,
Yep.
he confirmed can run faster than this guy. So I'm obviously not gonna be serving an NS again ever. But if I was, right, I would hope my buddy was just a little bit less fit than me lah. You don't have to outrun the supernatural creature, just outrun the guy next to you. Can already.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I know the camp. Well, we can see what the camp is, but like I've been to that camp, and when the OP talks about like the normally that spot you'll be able to feel the breeze. I've been at camp and I know for a fact that yes, that is true.
Yeah.
So creepy.
So back to the comments before more stories.
Yeah.
Okay. WSA said WSA means we shook always. Okay, fine.
Yeah, okay.
So KS basically is trying to find out the location of the school that I was talking about. I am only gonna reply you, no comment. That's probably the worst comment, but no comment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Mr. Crocodile says that we are usually stressed in school and the negative energy attracts. Yes.
Yeah.
Very much.
I can believe that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same like what you were saying when it comes. Okay, it's a bit more extreme, I imagine, when it comes to like funerals, because like you said, the energy, the aura of somebody who has passed on, that attracts
Oh yeah.
the supernatural. But like on a smaller level, that negative energy, yeah, absolutely, I can completely believe that.
WSA is asking which is scarier, school, hospital, or factory. For me, hands down, hospital. The way I see it, hospital is the gateway between life and death.
Yeah.
There's always new life, there's
Yeah.
always death. It's a great place, but it's also a terrifying place.
It's
Yeah.
and okay.
That is why, right? I feel I'm not very sure about Singapore, but I feel that's why Western hospitals, they have a church. They usually have a church in
Yeah.
yeah.
I think there are. Well, I don't know for sure, but I think in Singapore hospitals there are spots where people can go to pray. I'm not.
But they are like prayer
Yeah,
rooms,
yeah,
but
yeah.
they are not like straight up like the house of God or anything, right?
But that weirdly enough, my answer to this question is still schools.
I mean, I can see. Okay. Let's narrow it down further narrow it down, right?
We're talking about abandoned or okay.
No. Schools, pre-World War II schools are scarier or abandoned schools? Because to be fair, right, if you're talking about the modern schools that are built now, like, of course, they don't have much history, so let's not count in that. But let's versus one school that has went through World War II, it's probably like, been through World War II, then versus an abandoned school. Any abandoned school, it could be just like abandoned for like 5 years or so.
I think they're about the same. I like it to me, if you're abandoned, it already makes it creepy. If you're pre-World War II, well, that's a whole new level also lah. But that's the thing, like it's like what you were saying just now, like the schools half the time there's nobody in there. And I think it's the emptiness that like creeps me out the most. Because like hospitals, there will be quiet spells. But unless the hospital is abandoned, which, you know, that's a whole separate level right there. That's like, in terms of creepiness. But hospitals are usually, even on the late shifts, on like in the middle of the night, there will always be people, there will be the nurses caring for the patients and everything. And I think that's the other clincher for me. It's not that schools can't be nurturing, but you look at teachers, and there's always a mix of, they're trying to nurture the students. Like the best of teachers are always trying to nurture the students, but also at the same time, you know, you look at a teacher, you also think stress of exams lah. There's always that negative energy down there. But you could also look at like nurses and doctors and also think like, oh, they're trying to combat death and everything. But I don't know why nurses and doctors give me, at least in terms of the supernatural, they give me a bit more comfort.
Oh yeah. No, like no doubt, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's just that knowing that in the basement tree there's like a whole bunch of corpses down there.
Yeah.
And somebody probably died in this like bed.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. No.
I'm terrified of hospitals. To be honest, I would walk into a school anytime than a hospital, because I feel like hospital. There's so much death there, so much suffering. There's people dying every day. Then there's the morgue. Don't look forward to that. Have you been to a hospital's basement's car park?
To be fair, no.
It's super creepy, dude.
That said, I will say this. If you ask me to, okay, let's say what time does like the afternoon stretch for schools end?
I think if you're talking about like
afternoon sessions are like, they're like
until
5?
5, yeah, 5:30.
Yeah, okay. If you ask me to go into a school at like, let's say afternoon session ends at 5:30, there's all the students have left by 5:45. If you ask me to go into a school at 6 o'clock versus asking me to walk into a hospital at 3 a.m., I would much rather walk into a hospital at 3 a.m. than go into a school at 6 o'clock.
Because you know there's someone there.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. So it's a matter of people lah.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like if there's more living people in a place,
yep,
then there's that sense of security, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel I mean I think
what a tangent we've got off.
I think is no, but it's a great question.
Yeah.
Because I think like
I love this question actually.
like nurses and doctors, they are like the most scientific people, right? It's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yes.
I got see apparition. Then it's
Yeah.
like, okay, give him a 200 ml of this to knock him out. Like
He's delusional.
lock him out. Then you're like, thanks, doctor.
I'm
Right?
seeing more stuff now.
Now we need to, like address why we didn't choose factory, because I feel like for now factories are getting more and more automated.
Yeah.
So don't probably need much people. But what does creep me out is the ones that they do like their work on meat like if you're thinking of like slaughtering plants
Yeah.
like animals, right? I think that's like super creepy, even though they're not humans as per se.
Yeah.
But there's still a ton of death.
Yeah, it's a different kind of creepy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That one is like, you don't expect to see a ghost, but it's just got a very negative aura to it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
No, I can see what you mean. Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Yes.
Happy birthday, gentlemen. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, KS, for the nice.
Yay.
You want to address this? Faith Akara84 was like saying that you had a bad joke. What was your bad
I'm
joke?
quite sure my bad joke was when we were telling the story
Yes.
about like
Yes.
the students
Yes.
sleeping in the
Yes.
the morgue.
Yes.
Yeah. So, par for the course for me when it comes to
Dead
bad
silence,
jokes.
right? You said.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dead silence. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all about the back jokes. I am.
Maybe like M. Night Shyamalan with Bruce Willis that they don't know.
No,
Fair
yeah.
Yep.
No, I actually like. It's not so much it's spoilers for a movie that's been around for probably longer, slightly less. That's been around slightly less long than Carl's been alive. Yeah, no, I like the idea of spirits not knowing that they're dead.
Yep.
And then they just like for some reason I just like that approach to spirits. But yeah.
Because makes them less scary, right?
Anything to make spirits less scary for me. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Winnie.
Thank you, Winnie.
Old time homesickness.
I like that name.
Thank you. It sounds very like
Yeah, it fits the theme of me growing older. Yes.
nice.
Yeah.
So moving on, I've chosen the story for our, I think, Indonesian friends.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Indonesia. So it's from Meow Takodak. Wow.
No.
Meow Takodak.
Correct.
Meow,
Yes.
no, that
Meow
was- yeah,
Takodak.
yeah. Yeah, Meow Takodak. So this I believe is a her. So something strange happened to her while she was holidaying in Bali. They stayed in a villa near Ubud town. The first few nights were fine, but the last night had her questioning her sanity. Like it was also a humid night. After being in the sun all day in Ubud town, all she was fantasizing about was jumping into the pool. But the moment they got back into the villa, it was about 9:30 p.m. She got this heavy and scared feeling in her gut. Not due to Bali barely, she promises. I don't even know what that is.
You eat too much food and then you full.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So her partner begged her to go downstairs to the pool with him, but she gave him a firm no. Maybe too full lah, or too creeped out lah. But 10 minutes later, he ran up upstairs, very very pale, and he was playing with the light switches, and the balcony lights went on, and suddenly they turned off. And when he went to the bathroom area, he couldn't turn them back on. He got scared, and on the way up to the bedroom, they started flickering and turning off and on rhythmically. Is it then? The OP is asking, is it the Bali's wiring of the lights being bad, or perhaps there were some other cheeky spirits there?
I like the
Wow.
I like the idea that the OP was trying to be respectful, and my friend's like, yeah, no lah, and then the ghost is like, yeah, you should have listened to your partner, and then they're like, yeah.
But I feel like it could be faulty wiring. It could be that lah. It could be that.
I mean, it most probably was.
But right, like, yeah, I mean, like you said lah, like being cheeky is like you know that there's your partner is already scared and probably feels that there's a spirit there, and then you still go and play it like, woo, look at me on off on the like that, I on off for you lah, right? But I was wondering, like, if the flickering is like crazy on it, it's probably not like faulty wiring. But if it's like on off, probably faulty wiring. Yeah.
It probably was faulty wiring, but in this case I choose to believe that it was the spirits going, I see lah.
The next one is scarier. The next one is scarier.
Ooh.
Okay, so this is by Daniel. Daniel.
Yeah.
I kind of like Daniel.
Let's go with Daniel.
Daniel.
Yeah.
So he was assigned to this guy was a cop, so also set in Singapore. So he was assigned to an old-timer police officer to work on a few cases lah. And this old-timer partner has a few encounters to share. Wow, this is creepy because I read this. One time he was dispatched to a case about a member of public complaining about a man staring at him. So upon arrival at the scene, he and his partner started looking around for this man to no avail. You see the amount of stuff, I just need to slight tangents. The amount of stuff that like Singaporeans call the police for. It's like, dude, like, this is not an emergency. But I'll just take it with a pinch of salt. Maybe like this was like way back in the day lah. Okay. So anyway, he and his partner started looking around for the area for this man to no avail. So they just stood. They were standing there, I presume, at the bottom of the void deck at the lowest floor. They were downstairs at the HDB block, and then they were discussing about what to do next lah. Shortly after, the ops room contacted them, and then basically, police, they have the operations room. That's when they follow up with all these calls, right? So the ops room basically said the complainant called and want to know why the both of you are apparently standing directly in front of the man who is staring at him but not doing anything about it. So basically the spirit is in front of them, but they cannot see lah. So both of them proceeded to get in the police car and they sped off into the night.
This actually reminds me of a story that a friend's ex told me.
But I want to address one thing.
Yeah.
Though I'm professional, but I can feel that is understandable. If I was in his position, I'll be like, zao.
Yeah.
Because 2 reasons. One, either that's a actual spirit.
Yeah.
Or second, the guy is crazy.
No, look, they didn't see it. They didn't see the guy, right?
They didn't see the guy.
They didn't see the
Yeah.
Okay. So here's why I think they were being very professional.
Yeah.
Because they didn't see the guy.
Yeah.
So they ran. So it's not like they were running away from an actual person. They were running away from a ghost one.
Yeah.
Seems okay to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just see like if I saw 2 cops running, I just thought, okay, they have to go to something urgent. I won't think they were running away from a fight with a ghost.
I mean, but I think if it's supernatural, it is on another level because that spirit is looking for that guy. It's personal. You call the cops, the cops are not gonna do anything.
Exactly. I was about to say, like, in that case, what the cops gonna do?
Yeah. The cops give you a citation.
It's not like you're gonna file a report against the guy.
Yeah. But it is I always people who work in the night, they are super underrated. Like really shout out to people who work in the night, especially like the frontliners.
Yeah.
The first responders, they are really like the story that we did for Ghost Maps. The one with the chop IC one, that always got to me.
Yeah.
Basically the story goes, the guy was was patrolling in a very deserted area in Singapore. I think I can say the area is near Lorong Halus. Lorong Halus is a very empty stretch of road in between Pasir Ris and Punggol. So this stretch of road is rarely used. So at that road, and this was I think in the late 90s, and that road is they were there for a reason lah. I think they were there to patrol, to look for suspicious people. Then they saw one guy who's just there, and it's like in the 90s. So you know it's even weirder for you to be there. Why are you there? So they got off the car, asked him for his IC, and then the guy gave it to him. And then they call it in, like, okay, you check this IC if he has any outstanding warrants for arrest or whatever lah. And then they check this like, can you like repeat the IC again? So the guy who told the story was standing with the guy, like with him, to wait for him lah, like to wait for while his partner, a female officer, was like calling it in. And the moment she's like, this person is already deceased. This person is no longer alive. Like, why are you like calling us about this person? I see. And that's when the guy, he didn't realize it. The partner walked and want to go and tell him. He turned to the partner. He turned back. The guy gone already. That thing was gone. And then the IC was still in their hands. It wasn't. When you die, right, in Singapore, the IC will get a chop mark.
Not just when you die. Like when you change your IC.
You'll get chopped, right?
So it's no longer valid.
It wasn't chopped. So it actually has a physical object.
Yeah.
That is creepy. And then they immediately sped off. They kept the IC somewhere, I think in evidence or something. Yeah. But yeah, that's...
I can't remember which episode that was. I really love that story.
Oh yeah, it is pretty creepy. Yeah.
See, like I wrote the episode, so like I really love that story. To be fair, it wasn't our story lah.
It wasn't our story, but like I don't know. I have a thing for like first responder stories. I think you see a lot more things. Yeah. Like after 2 a.m. in Singapore.
I mean, to be fair, if you look at a lot of our episodes of Ghost Maps, like you see quite a fair bit of first responder stories in Ghost Maps. Like not like overwhelming amount, but there's quite a few of those on there. And even some of the stories that aren't like when we translate them to episodes of Ghost Maps, some of the stories that we tell might be first responder stories, but we've kind of like tweaked their jobs maybe to because they don't really want, like the people who told stories don't really want so much of their own details out there. So we've kind of tweaked them, but like you get a lot of these first responder stories. No, because I was saying that that story actually reminded me, I can't remember whether I told you this one. It's not a first responder, but it's somebody who works at night. And I won't say the place where they're working, but it's an attraction in Singapore. Oh. Okay, so I have told you the story. Yeah. It's an attraction in Singapore and it operates at night. I finished my wine. I can't toast to you anymore. And there were a lot of people around. But then I think it was my this person who told the story where he saw one of his colleagues talking to this very panicked Caucasian lady. Oh, so the lady's obviously a tourist, and she was visiting the attraction. and she was very like flustered, and she was like, "No, you have to help. You have to help." So the person who told the story, like, he went closer to his colleague, and then he overheard the conversation. And the woman was like, "You have to help. That poor woman is in the tree. She's wearing a white dress. You know, she's obviously stuck down there. You have to go help her." And his colleague was like, "No, no." And this, bear in mind, this is like, I think, it at this point it's probably like 9 p.m. I guess. So yeah, I really do respect people who do a night shift for any job, because it's
Yeah. That story that you told was actually shared in a viral TikTok. It's this guy who works at that place also, and then it's the same thing, Caucasian woman also, and then I was like, yeah, of course they do not know about. I mean, it's blessing in disguise, right?
Yeah.
If I go to like another country and then I started seeing things that I thought that was human, I'll be like, oh, thank God, I thought it was human.
Oh yeah, ignorance definitely bliss in this case.
And like I guess like the spirits will know like, this one don't know our culture,
Yeah.
so you don't bother to go and scare, so don't know.
I like to believe that the spirits are like indirectly kachowing the people who work down there. They're like,
Yep.
scare the tourists, and like y'all be like, crap,
Yep, pretty much.
she's there. But yeah, no, I did night shift as a security guard like ages ago, and like it doesn't matter how, like, wherever you're patrolling, doesn't matter how it looks like during the day. At night,
Oh yeah,
creepy, always creepy. Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, fun times.
So WSA is a random thought that just popped up. What do you guys think of the idea of spirits who didn't realize they had died? Wow,
How?
what's a downer?
It's a downer. I was looking at the question just now when you posted it, before we highlighted it as well, and like, I actually, weirdly enough, I like, as a story, I like those kinds of stories, because it makes it adds a certain level of emotion to it. I mean, you know, if you're a spirit and you died, obviously there's a tragedy down there, but I think it adds that extra level of tragedy.
Oh yeah.
So from a storytelling point of view, I love those. From just the idea of the supernatural, I do wonder. I think it's just one of those, like we were saying, like, you know, the shadows are one kind of race of spirits, and then, like, you know, the ones with with no face, they're another race of spirits. I think that's probably what it is. Like, they just, the certain kind of spirits that haven't reached a certain level where they remember where that they've died already lah. So I think they're just young spirits.
Yeah, and apparently, like some theories that time doesn't pass the same way for them.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a year for us is like maybe 1 day for them. I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be that. Yeah. So I think it's quite sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. For, you know, to not know that they have died. So some of them, they will repeat the dying scene.
Yeah.
For a very long time. I don't know, maybe because of karma or whatever. But yeah, I just think that the whole idea of that is sad lah. Is a cycle that is sad. And the question that I have about this is why? Why are you like repeating this? There must be a reason, right? Like, if not, it's illogical to be there.
I mean, like, I almost feel like the cycle itself. See, that's the thing. Okay, if you just don't remember that you are dead, then that's one thing. But I feel like if it's a cycle thing, I almost feel like it's a punishment. Depending on how they died, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Few more comments before we move to the next story. Oh, this is very nice of you. Thank you, Edwin.
He is.
I am very shy now.
No, you shouldn't be. He's a very attractive man. That blush you see in his cheeks is not the wine. No, he's very shy.
Thank you, Edwin. Thank you for the kind words. So Mr. Crocodile was saying like he was a clerk during NS at a camp in the east. Overnight duties were hell. Didn't help that he was a scaredy cat. Didn't sleep a wink on duty nights. Yeah. I mean, things go bump in the night, right?
Yeah.
And you are more alert lah. And I think it's it's quite a normal thing to have. Yeah, I've done a few overnight stuff myself, and your body is on edge.
Yeah.
Like when you do these kind of things at night, right? Your body is on edge. No matter where you are, like what you're doing, your body is definitely on edge. One. When we go out for, I say we as in me and my team.
Yeah, not me.
No, me and Wayne. And other teams.
Yeah.
When we go out for ghost maps visuals, right? My body's super on edge. I will only sleep at about 4 or 5 to shoot the horror visuals for ghost maps and HANTU lah. So but I don't do that as often because I'm very busy right now. But when I do it, usually we will start shooting at like 9 all the way to like 3, 4 a.m. And then we will never go home first. We will always go to a mamak place to, let whatever following us there, not follow us to our house. And then we'll go home from there. You'll chill for like an hour and go home from there. So
that's my favorite bit of supernatural knowledge that I didn't know until I met you.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea that was a thing where if you go to like a creepy place, the next thing you should do is go to a mama.
Even for funerals.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah. I didn't know that until like someone told me also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Joker and me would like to believe that people who run mama started that.
Yeah.
And they were like, you should come down here, get rid of the spirits.
No,
first.
I had a theory about this, which is that the mamaks, right, are actually the ones that feel with ghosts. Because they seem to be a drop-off point for all the spirits. So all the spirits like, hey, Miss P, I've not seen you around for a while now. Yeah, haunting this guy, but then he come here, drop me off. So like it's like an interchange for all the spirits. That would be a really funny short story though. Right? They all like chilling.
So that's why spirits haunt us, because they use us basically as like feeder service.
Yeah. They're basically feeder service. Yeah, I caught this guy at Old Tampines Road. Oh yeah, this guy was going at Choa Chu Kang Road or some shit. That would be quite Yeah, but we have a few stories that are set in ghost maps lah. They're set in the army. That's coming soon.
Yes,
they're in the works, and I think that you guys would really enjoy them because they are not they're not the usual kind.
Yeah.
And following up with that question, have you guys performed creepy night prowling duties during NS? Unfortunately for me, very fortunately actually, no. And I have no experience other than once in army the entire time, which I'm very, very thankful for until I don't think you have, right?
No, well, not. I mean, I would have told you if I had, that's for sure. No, not prowling specifically and not guard duty. I think the creepiest for me was like I would be stationed with like the duty officer or something like that. And because I won't say which one was my camp, but like, where I was stationed, if you wanted to go to the loo, it wasn't like in a building or anything like that. It was like a smaller like place. And if you want to go to the loo, you have to step out of the duty office and walk about like maybe like 2-3 meters and then go to the loo. And the loo, whichever the camp that I was in, the loo in this particular area, the lights were always it wasn't like a creepy like, oh, the lights suddenly started to flicker. They're always flickering. And you would think that just because they were always flickering, it won't be so creepy anymore. No, every single time you turn on the light to go to the toilet, right, it's just... So every time when I do overnight duty, I'm like, I'll tahan, I'll like hold back, I'm like, don't need pee yet. Still young, so can lah. I was like, oh, don't need pee yet. Wait. Before I go to sleep, then I go to the toilet, then I let out, then I come back in. So I only have to go one time. But yeah, no creepiness in terms of prowling, but which is weird because like the camp that I went to was like super creepy.
Yeah.
But yeah, thankfully that was the creepiest thing that happened to me in that camp. But that's the thing, like when I was doing national service, I don't know whether it's an effect of just being there, but like when I was doing like my basic training, there would be guys like telling me like, hey, did you feel something passing by you in the night last night? Because I woke up, right, and there was like blood on my pillows or everything. And then you asked me like, yeah. And I had a few people like on one particular day, they're like, yeah, I felt something pass by me. Then they asked me, did you feel anything? I was like, no, man, I'm too tired.
Yeah.
How to feel anything?
Yeah, fortunately.
Yeah.
Similar for me, but I do have one, which is quite creepy. First day. Yeah.
Oh, you very lucky.
They welcomed me. Yeah,
You
first
very
day,
lucky.
First day. So I mean, I went in there. I already had the mental capacity to know that okay, this shit's gonna happen. So, but I didn't know it was that soon. So it's like the evening that I first enlisted, in Tekong, Pulau Tekong, which is our basic military training camp.
Yeah.
Then my bunk is located right next to the toilet on the highest floor.
Lucky you.
Yeah. So I mean it's good, but it's also very creepy. So
Yeah.
after we got our shave, so everybody is like chilling in the bunk. But for me, I was looking at my hair, and without hair, you look really weird, right? So I was just looking at my hair for the longest time. But I checked, nobody was in the toilet, and we were the fresh batch of trainees, right? Recruits. So a lot of all the windows of the toilets, those, windows,
Yeah.
they were all closed because you need to open them. Nobody was in the cab, was in the bunk yet, so nobody opened, so there was no wind. The door was closed behind me, no wind. I checked all the units because I was just looking at my hair. I don't look like an idiot. Right? So I checked all the cubicles. I was completely empty in the toilet, so I was looking at my hair and I was like touching my hair. Wow, my hair, no more hair, bald. And suddenly, the door at the very end cubicle opened.
Oh, man.
And like with this kind of the cubicle doors are those plastic cubicle doors, and they don't super creepy. They don't close all the way. It's always like at an angle, right?
Yep.
So it opened, right, and then it has a sound, and then it closed. It opened and closed.
That creepy.
And I immediately washed my hand. Nope. I opened the door. I went back to my bunk with all my friends. I was like, I'm done. I'm done. So that was the only time. That was one time. That's it. Yeah, so that was but no creepy, probably no nothing. Which is very thankful.
The only thing I can add to your story is I seen you during your botak phase for MS. Not that bad lah.
Pretty bad lah.
Not that bad lah. At the worst possible angle, right? You look like Kingpin from Daredevil. At the worst possible angle. Otherwise, I think you look fine.
Yeah. So, last comment from KS, because he's actually elaborating on the whole mamak thing, right? Based on what spiritual master said during the Taiwanese horror shows, is that it's a luck thing. Spirits follow you due to your low luck, and in the crowded places, chances are someone else is more sway. Which I agree. I think, and I do watch some of those shows also. Yeah, I think it's a luck thing lah. It's a chance thing, but it is also it's also prevention. So, but it's kind of bad. You go and then you leave it to someone who was more sway.
I can't remember. We have like 50 plus episodes of Ghost Maps now. So like
57.
57. So it's not going to be like encyclopedic, like, yes, episode this is. But have we ever done a story set in casinos?
No.
Because I imagine
not yet.
There's got to be quite a few of
the
spirits in casinos.
For our region wise, right? Not to get into specifics, but the casinos.
I can see where this is going already.
The casinos that Southeast Asian goes are usually tied to a hotel. They are tied to a certain place. Let's just say that it's on top of a very big place. In our neighboring countries. So that one is very famous, for sure. For sure, there will be stories. Actually, I do. Yeah, not me. Like I do have stories that we will do it into Ghost Maps.
I can't imagine that anybody will be able to tell which one you're talking about.
Yep, nobody will be able to tell. Yeah. So let's move on to more stories. Let me see. Okay, not this one.
I like how Carl has like what looks like 5 tabs of Reddit open, ready for this episode.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of them are like when
Amigo stories.
Yeah, when I'm looking at it, it's like army stories.
Look, we can pretend that this is brand synergy. What we're doing now is getting people primed up for when we have our Amigo stories coming next.
Yeah,
we're gonna pretend that was the case, We're doing this to prime you up for our Amigo stories.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. That's way too much.
There is way too much. We're looking at like I said, Carl's got like 5 tabs open, and there is so many we can't actually choose. I'm like thinking, how about this one? Then Carl will go down a little bit. I'm like, oh wait, how about that one? He go down a little bit. Oh wait, how about that one? Reddit.
Okay, so this one is actually from HTA lah. HTA is the training place for the home team. It's the home team academy lah. So basically where they train the SCDF firefighters, the first responders, the police lah.
The OP is interim nihilist,
and is very very near the Choa Chu Kang cemetery, the Lim Chu Kang cemetery. Is like literally facing, and some of them are facing them. So I'm not gonna name the koi. So in the in this company, there's a corner room on the 2nd floor that is never used and always locked up. All of them has always found it really strange. So one day, right, a group of guys from their squad decided to see what's inside. So they convinced the guy who holds the keys. He can't remember what role was that. To lend the keys for like 5 minutes, and then apparently he was told under no circumstances should the room be open. They don't know why, but he still handed the keys to the squad. I guess peer pressure. He wants to see cool lah. So obviously, right, being the dumb young adults that they were, they went to open the room, and they said the room was super weird. Apparently, the room didn't have any cupboards or any beds, and any cupboards. There were just beds, and under each beds there was a bowl, and in the bowl they saw some black stuff like dried out, long black, like dried out coffee, and they didn't think much of it. Without locking the door, everybody left because they thought it was quite spooky. The next part is quite unbelievable, which could have been made up. About 5 or 6 guys that went to the room, I told them that they told the OP lah that, you know, the next morning they had the same weird dream. They dreamed that they were back in the room and saw some weird shit like the beds were levitating and all. Yeah. So
okay, to be fair, I see why the OP is skeptical, because that could very well be a prank. But the visual of that is very creepy. I like the closest I have to that was I won't say which camp this was, it's a different camp. But there was one particular room that, you know, nobody went into. It's not that we were told don't go into it, but nobody just went into it. One day I went into that room, and it wasn't like a bunk or anything, it's just a room. And the room had nothing but shelves upon shelves of jars, and in those jars were snakes.
oh
Yeah. I was like, well, that's way more frightening, and I closed the door and I got the hell out of there.
yeah.
Like, that would creep me out a whole lot more.
But the snakes are dead, right? Or are they alive?
I couldn't. I just ran out. I don't know whether they were dead or alive. They probably were dead, but it's like, ugh.
Yeah. Me, I'm probably used for training lah.
Yeah,
How
probably.
to eat a snake for ranger course because they have to eat the snake, right? So yeah, I mean, it was being so near to the cemetery, right? I'm really not surprised that, you know, there can be spirits here that, you know, went into the camp. But I feel like something really bad happened to the point whereby they actually had to, you know, I guess
Seal
create a bed for the spirits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always extra creepy when there's like, well, the bed for the spirits is one thing, but it's always extra creepy when there's a whole room that's abandoned because of these things, or a room has to change. Like, there's that famous one, I can't remember which camp it is. I think it's probably like changed every single time, where apparently like a third door had to be installed.
Oh,
yeah. I've heard that one several times. It's always a different camp.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a third door that's installed so that the spirits can come and go.
The Kong third door camp
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That one is quite infamous. Yeah. I mean, most outfield you will see it. Some people will walk, they'll march past that camp.
Yeah.
It's an actual camp that's been abandoned in Tekong. So it's there lah. It is there. So
yeah, those are extra, like, you seeing stuff in a bunk in which other people occupy. Again, it goes to the thing where if there's other people down there, it doesn't seem as frightening, but just the abandoned aspect of it, that adds a level of creepiness to it lah.
yeah.
I like how Kyle has clicked on a section called what is it? Is it Lunar New Year?
No lah. 7th month.
Ah,
Lunar 7th month. Ghost month lah. Yeah.
Of course. Hey, 7 month coming up quite soon, right?
Yep.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, hint,
Yep.
hint.
Nudge, nudge, ring, ring. We have a lot of stories.
Hey, if you're a regular for Ghost Maps, you know Hungry Ghost Month will always have extra episodes coming up. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so this is something that's 7 month, huh?
Yeah.
So the OP is called J dots 54, J dot 54.
Mm-hmm.
Used to work in Tuas. Tuas is in the western part of Singapore.
Yeah.
Very industrialized area.
Mm-hmm.
So this office is like a long container layout with with a second story overseeing the production floor. So it's pretty big. So this guy is obviously in production.
Mm-hmm.
So a few days prior, colleague sitting behind his cubicle passed away in a car accident.
Yeah.
So he had to send his father to the airport at 6 a.m. The OP lah. And he was in the office at 7 a.m. It was super early.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still dark lah outside, and the apart from the security officer in the gantry at the compound, he was all alone in this super big building, and then his office is on the second floor of a production floor, so it's like super empty like empty factory. Then he's alone, so he sat down to do some typing, and using only his cubicle. Like why do people like to do that?
Yeah.
to themselves,
What the hell?
Like he like the whole office mood. I do this setup, right. It's only because when I'm doing color grading or I'm doing intensive color work, then I do it dark. If not, I will not choose to have dark, because darkness attracts more darkness. So anyway, 10 to 15 minutes later, he heard someone typing on keyboard, like around a long sentence long, very close to him, almost feels like the back of his head. And then he stood up, and then he still walked the entire length of the office, checking all the manager doors. Nobody. And then he sat down, he started listening to music. Then few days later, like this is like end of the story already. So he started on music, nothing happened after that. Few days later, a storeman who reached early was walking past his office, right, and then saw the dead colleague. Like the colleague that died from the car accident. He climbing up to report for work. And then the storeman freaked out and then ran all the way out to the main road. Then the OP's comment was like, this guy died already, still have to go back to work.
I freelance, so I freelance at a number of different places. There was one office that I was freelancing at before where people would tell me like, oh yeah, that meeting room got ghosts, no. And then like if you're working late also, after a while you're like, hey, if the ghost in the meeting room, don't just sit down there lah. Come on and help lah. We're working late already, Grab a laptop, man. But yeah, like why would you, like, I would not by choice go to an office on my own. And when there's nobody there, whether it's earlier or whether it's later, and then sit down there with just one light on and then like darkness around you. Why would you do that?
Because,
color grading, okay, I understand.
Because color grading. But I don't necessarily enjoy it lah.
No.
As in like the darkness lah.
Yeah, no. Good God, no.
But like I also quite garang lah, because like when I color grade in the dark, completely darkness, like it's super dark. Then I will listen to ghost stories also.
What is wrong with you?
I mean, it's what I like. What? Yeah.
Sick man,
I'll be scared, but I'll be like, oh, this is shock. It's like you're scared, but at the same time you're like, oh, it's like eating chili. It's spicy, but you really like the taste.
I can't even watch horror movies at night. I have to watch them during the day. Open up my blinds. Nice, bright, sunny. Raining, I cannot watch.
Oh, I watch it at night.
No.
Yeah, definitely.
Sick man.
So, Faith Akara 84 is asking whether if you want to have an army story now. Sure.
Yeah.
So
you can share with us here if you want if you want your army story to turn into episode of Ghost Maps potentially. What you can do is you can also drop us a message on our Facebook page. We are HANTU. Look for We Are HANTU on
We Are
Facebook.
HANTU.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can also go to our website hantu.sg and drop us a message on there as well. So if it's up to you, if you want us to potentially turn it into a Ghost Maps episode, share it with us there, or if you want to share it now, please, of course. Oh wait, hey, there we go.
He or she did lah. So Faith Akara is saying that our camp is like basically had two camps within the. Or I think I roughly know which one already. Within a large camp, and was the admin camp when on the CCTV, Faith saw something run in the second camp where there were only two guards, at the front gate and no one inside. Wow. You sure not cat or dog? It could be something because like CCTVs, they are usually the quality is usually quite bad one, and you can't really be you can't really see it well, you can't discern it well, so there could be something else, and then you're like,
Favakara, if you thought I was the only one who was making bad jokes, see, this is why we're partners.
what? It's not a joke.
Is it a cat?
No, it could be.
Yeah, it could be a cat.
It could be like
it could be a cat lah.
Yeah, like okay, if it was a person, then like the two guards standing outside would probably stop the person,
Yeah.
right? But if it was a cat, they were like, whatever lah, just let him eat.
Yeah, knowing me, I'll probably like, and the
Yeah.
cat would come up to me and looking for food. Or
Yeah, exactly.
No, fair.
Okay.
I see a lot of, I see a few Tuas stories as well, which I'm not entirely surprised by. I guess this is like why WSA was asking whether we find factories scary. So I suppose in certain offices or factories, I suppose it can be a bit creepy. But yeah, for me, it's just, if it's empty, that elevates its creepiness a whole lot more.
Okay. So I want to change it up a little bit.
Mhm.
I found this story. So this person is called Redemption Zero. It's a story by Redemption Zero. So Redemption Zero lived in a village in a certain East African country for 3 years with his family from ages 7 to 10. I'm presuming you probably are the child of an ambassador or someone of importance. There were no street lamps, so it'd be pitch dark at night if it was not for the stars and moon. Electricity supply and water supply were a little bit, lousy lah. So they were cut off at random times, sometimes be out as long for 3 weeks. So when that happens, they would use kerosene lamps and candles. So yeah. So this is quite, I guess, at that point, and this is probably like 20 years ago, at that point, quite common for an East African country lah. So on one such night, his older sister and him went to send out a guest and while they were walking back from the gate, they heard someone called their names. The weird thing is that only the sister heard the voice calling out for her name, and her name, and he heard his name. So it's like two different names, but they both heard someone calling for the name. They both turned around at the same time and saw a silhouette of a person standing there smiling. Oh man. They instantly felt that there was something way off, and this verbatim, this is how the conversation ensued. Sister was asking who's there, and the thing named basically said the name of the person they sent off, basically maybe Bob lah. Okay. So now they both know that something is definitely wrong because that sounded nothing like that person. So it doesn't sound like Bob, but it's trying to sound like Bob. So the sister is asking, what do you want? And the thing said, come here. And then he and his sister basically looked at each other and decided to just run lah. Yeah. So he slept perfectly fine, but the sister had nightmares of a witch doctor and some voodoo ceremonies. And when she finally managed to wake up, she couldn't move. Sleep paralysis. She looked out of the window and saw the thing standing there. Okay, so if you can't move while you're lying down, you can really see the window. Perhaps the bed is facing the window, I would presume, because you can't move.
Fair enough.
So how will you see the window? So you has to be in front of you lah. So she looked out of the window and saw the thing standing there, smiling at her. Oh man.
Yeah.
So I guess some witch doctor lah, wearing like a voodoo mask. So she somehow managed to close her eyes and eventually fell back asleep. And they never talked about this after that. So this was during his time in Africa. Yeah. So that's very, very creepy.
That's the thing. I don't know whether voodoo. It might not be voodoo. I'm not super familiar, but if I'm not wrong, it's actually a religion, and I'm not sure where exactly its origins are from. I'm not super familiar with it, so I don't know about that. But yeah, like that's the thing. When it comes to stories like this, when there's certain facts that don't gel together, like there's a sleep paralysis, but then how do you see it out the window? I always I like I like stories that have those little bit inconsistencies, because like a lot of times if you tell me a story and it's too perfect, I start to question it.
Yeah.
But your memory is never going to be reliable when you face stuff like this.
It's the sleep paralysis,
Yeah.
Because sometimes like for all we know, my hot dog story could be like a mashup of memories. For all we know,
Yeah.
I don't know, right?
Yeah.
So, but nonetheless, still creepy because, I'm not very familiar with the occult in Africa.
Yeah.
But I do know that there's also a lot of practices in voodoo and like shamanistic black magic to bewitch someone. Maybe it could be something that was passing through, or something that wanted to target that family for a particular reason. I don't know. Like it could be that, and you just saw it lah. Like
it's like the idea of the vampiric kind of creature. Like you know, every culture's kind of got something similar.
But I think this is more of like a witch doctor. Hella creepy though. Like you are creepy as hell. You're like staring out of like a
but
like a girl's windows. Like,
but like it's like the witch doctor and the Momo kind of thing. Like I like when you see like these kind of things like translate across different cultures. Like every culture has its version of this thing.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of windows and sleeping beside windows, right? I used to live in Hougang. So I'm no longer living there now, so I'm very comfortable with saying this. Hougang is in the northeastern part of Singapore. It's quite near the central part lah. Very nicely located. So the place that I stayed in was directly facing the mental hospital of Singapore. So that is like proper creepy sometimes, because at that point, right, the mental hospital was beside a hill, and the hill had like this small patch of forest. So at night, right, sometimes there's fog. There can be fog, so it's very creepy. And we lived on the floor where the you know your basically your entire house, right, the window, right, is basically beside the what do you call it, like a corridor, so people can walk past your house.
Corridors,
And for some weird reason, my parents didn't install any curtains for the whole house, so people can just look into my house. They did install like one of those like not blurring vinyls so
right.
they can still see, but they have to be very close to see what's inside the house. So there's blurring vinyls. And my room with my sister was the one of the rooms that's like facing the outside. And then you could see the mental hospital, and you could see the hill beside it, and you could see the corridor. So it was very creepy because at night, right, and I was the scaredy cat. I slept on the inside, furthest away from the window. My sisters, being the garang one, sleep beside the window. But like it had a small ledge, so you can kind of hide under the window, but you also beside the window. So she's terrified. She always tell me that I feel so bad for letting her sleep there. But anyway, like she would tell me that there were a few nights, right, that she could feel like there were things that outside the window, like just staring into the room. And of course, at that point, being the scaredy cat that we were, our helper was also sleeping with us. My grandmother was sleeping with us, so we were quite safe lah. But still, like when you're asleep, then there's like, it's just creepy. No curtains. Like I don't understand what's the logic. Man, no curtains. Anyone could just stare into the room. Yeah. So I mean I don't want to like spoil like houses that has corridor for people, but I just feel that they are very creepy. Yeah. If you don't at least put curtains. I've seen some houses in Singapore, right? Like people straight up like the window open on for air to go in.
Oh yeah.
But you can stare into them sleeping.
I mean, at night you kind of want to have something lah.
Yeah. But you can see. Yeah. So that's pretty creepy. Yeah.
I'm personally not a fan of rooms that like face corridors and everything. I stayed in a place at least once where, I mean, not like the glass was frosted a bit lah, so you know you can't, nobody can see in, and you know you have to open the windows to kind of see out to get a clear view of it. But yeah, I'm not a fan of flats that where the windows and all that are open to corridors. Like,
Yeah.
no, thank you. Yes, we're still scoring through to find just
No. Okay, so I'm gonna do this story. This story is from Honey. This is the last story that I'm gonna do before we end the episode. Okay,
How long? Have we,
2 hours.
Sheesh.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I mean, this is very classic. This story is by Honey Number 1. So North area are very spooky, as told by some taxi uncles. It's told by a taxi uncle. Okay.
I'm starting to see why you chose this one as our
Yeah.
last one.
So one of the taxi uncles said that he saw a thing on the 4 Junction Road in Yishun. For our non-Singaporean
I
friends,
see why.
Yishun is supposedly one of the most messed up areas in Singapore. So like people really feel that, you know, Yishun, culturally we also make fun of Yishun lah. Like Yishun has a lot of weirdos. Unfortunately, a lot of murders, a lot of strange things happening.
I personally feel like Yishun gets too bad a reputation, but
yeah,
I see why it gets the reputation.
Yeah, basically, Yishun is the Gotham of, according to a local comedian, Yishun is a Gotham of Singapore, right? Yeah, so I agree. So basically, the taxi uncle said that he saw a thing on a 4 Junction Road. So basically a crossroad lah. The one that is near the golf course.
Well, I know where the golf course is.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
yeah, near the golf course in the middle of night while he was younger, riding a bike after his work shift before he drive a taxi lah. So those living near the school and facing the school, right, have this weird big tree, right? Please be careful, because usually that's where they have lah. And you know, if you 4 Junction Roads, right, lagi worse ah. Yeah, because usually according to feng shui, 4 Junction Roads are the worst.
Really?
Cause death, yeah. Usually major accidents.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm no expert, but statistically, I presume that would be the most accident, because a lot of discretionary turns, right? Usually 4th Junction, they will have discretionary turns and speeding.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably. Yeah. So I think basically the OP is trying to say that, you know, Yishun is bad lah.
Yeah.
But to add it on, I feel like it's just probably the location itself, not the people.
No, are you talking about Yishun? Okay.
Yeah. Like, because it's surrounded by a lot of camps.
Yeah.
So a lot of empty spaces.
Yeah.
Surrounded by it's, you know, bordering a forest, reservoir. Then on the other side is also another forest. So yeah, I can see why it's like that. I was just there yesterday actually. I was just there to have dinner. Yeah, I actually went to take some photos for Ghost Maps.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
as you can see, I didn't follow him again.
no, but it wasn't creepy or anything. I went at like dusk, so
Okay.
still okay. But I went to the darker parts where nobody walked into lah. So I walked into there and just take a look at like how creepy it is lah. Maybe can take some photos there for Ghost Maps in the future.
Nice.
So, yeah.
No, but that goes back to what we were saying earlier on about like this whole idea of, and this is a much bigger topic, I suppose lah. But this whole idea of, you know, this our impression is supernatural and how sometimes it can translate across cultures. Like you said, feng shui, the cross junctions are lucky, right? Like I've heard stories of, the most famous one I heard is the blues musician, and it's an old myth, but the blues musician Robert Johnson, to become the great blues musician that he was, he went to the crossroads where he met the devil and he made a deal with the devil at the crossroads, and it had to be at the crossroads. And it comes from like other, like I can't remember any off the top of my head, but there's a lot of myths of the whole idea of the devil at the crossroads. So it's another case of one of those interesting things where you see like across cultures, like certain things kind of translate as well.
Cross culture,
nice. Yeah.
Nice.
I wish I could say that was a pun, but you know, that wasn't intentional. I'll take it anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So KS was saying like, I like listening to ghost stories, but one thing that couldn't was at night when I was under quarantine order in the hotel. No escape if something happens. Yeah.
No, that's fair.
I've always wondered about that. I mean, fortunately enough, I never kena quarantine order during this whole pandemic, right?
Mm.
But I've always wondered, like, what if you are stuck in a hotel and there is supernatural elements? Because hotels bound to have a few rooms that are haunted, and you sway kena, and at the height of pandemic, everybody's getting quarantined. Like a lot of people
Yeah.
are getting quarantined, so not enough room, so you get assigned to that room. What happens then, right? That would have been hell, I presume.
I wonder whether they specifically didn't assign people to the rooms when they were in quarantine. Like you're going through enough already.
Honestly, I feel like because it's an immediate health risk, right, I feel like a lot of the rules were bent.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. But I did listen to some of the other stories that were had to do with quarantine orders which no choice. You have to just deal with it, and it sucks
It does. It does. What's the phrase that people always use? Unprecedented times. Yay.
Yes, unprecedented times.
Yeah.
So
Fun.
Faith
Faith Akara.
Faith Akara was saying that like it could be an insect for the
thing that ran across
the
the
ran
CCTV.
but it was kind of like a human shape. I think it could be a shadow also. Yeah.
Shadows.
You know what I really want? Like if they always say that you see on CCTV, like there should be an actual recording of it There should be, yeah. If there's an like actual recording of it, then yeah. Oh
That would be interesting, and I would not want to see it.
yeah.
Which means that you will probably show it to me.
Oh yeah, I do have some.
Yep.
I do have some. Yeah,
Yeah.
I showed it to him.
Yes, that was
the,
fun.
in the day.
Thank you for at least showing it to me in the day.
So okay, before we wrap up, right? I think we have some questions that we want to ask them, right?
No, actually, well, one very important question, and this is very important. Okay, Kyle, if our fans could give each of us a present for our birthday, because remember this is our birthday episode, what would you like for a present from our fans?
I would like for us to hit 10,000 YouTube subscribers.
Why?
No.
Explain to them why you want
not
that.
10,000. Sorry, scratch that. I would like for them to help us reach 10,000 Facebook and 10,000 Instagram followers, simply for the fact that Wayne and I can go, and a couple of our friends can go to the cemetery to do a Dead Air episode. That would be really fun to do. It'll be tough to make, but if we could pull off a live episode in a cemetery with proper preparation, I think that would be pretty interesting, right?
I still don't understand why I agreed to this.
It's all for the
I know I willingly agreed to this. I was not drinking like wine at a time. All done. I was not drinking wine at a time.
Yeah.
Kyle was the one drinking his tiger beer.
Yeah.
I was just drinking. The hardest stuff I could have been drinking at the time was probably like green tea. So clearly I wasn't intoxicated. I don't know why I said yes to this. I still don't know why I said yes to this.
Yeah,
but
so
I
that's
have yes, but I have said yes. So yes, 10,000 Facebook and YouTube, Facebook and Instagram followers. Yeah.
Yep.
Where are we at now? Do I have to start preparing myself?
No, we are nowhere close.
Okay, we're nowhere close, so I don't have to start preparing myself yet. When we get closer to 10,000, notice I said when and not if, because you guys will give this to Carl as his birthday present.
Yep.
Not just you. If you have already, if you already follow our Facebook, Instagram pages, get your friends to follow Facebook, Instagram. 10,000, get to see me, practically pee myself in a cemetery out of fear. So isn't that worth it?
Yep.
I don't know why I agreed to this. But that's a good present. Present. So yes, please, Carl's birthday present. Lots more likes on Facebook and Instagram. I have a less terrifying birthday present. I'm going to be a bit shameless about it. I just co-created a comic book that has come out recently. It is a comic about mental health. It is called Worlds Apart. It is with the fantastic artist Nurjana Sohaimi. The comic is published by Difference Engine. The website is differenceengine.sg. They are a Singaporean comic publisher. The comic holds a very special place in my heart. It's all the basic idea is about normalizing Conversations about Mental Health. It's just been released, so if you wanted to get for me a present, that present would be for you to buy the comic. So please, if you are advocate for the normalization of mental health, if you are advocate for seeking help for mental health, the proper kind of treatment for mental health, and just having it be something that we can talk about openly, and because it should be talked. It should be talked about openly, and it should be talked about like a normal part of life, because it is a normal part of life. If you're an advocate for this, if you are curious about mental health, please do pick up the comic. It's called Worlds Apart. It is co-created by myself and the amazing artist Nurjana Sahaimi. Again, you can look for the comic at Difference Engine's website, differenceengine.sg. So please visit there. That will be my birthday present. It's a little bit more expensive than liking a Facebook page and an Instagram page, but
worth it.
I have to be a bit of a diva about it. But yes, as Carl said, it's worth it.
It's worth it.
So yes,
it's worth it. Yeah, like I mean, speaking of, mental health, right? I think I can say this for a lot of the horror listeners.
Yeah,
I think horror podcasts levels me a lot, keeps me calm while I work. I think I can say that for a bunch of you also. So I think this is not very far from it. Also, it helps you better understand like what you may be going through, like what we may be going through. So yeah, I think it's definitely a good thing, and I'm proud of Wayne and his artist for making this comic. It's a very important piece of work.
Thank you, Carl.
I think every art is important.
Yeah,
but on different types, basically.
It's important to different people on different levels.
Yeah.
I want to circle back to our lovely listeners as well, and because you were talking about like how a lot of people, quite a number of our listeners also, our podcast helps them in terms of their mental health.
Oh yeah,
just like it's a form of escape. And I didn't even realize, because like Carl was like, hey, you should promote the comic on it, and I was like, it's not really connected though, is it? It's a bit weird if I start talking about like the comic when we were talking about like ghost stories, and Carl was like, no, but Ghost Maps apparently has helped a lot of people go through
that's for sure.
difficult times. And just to circle back to Ghost Maps, I want to say I'm glad that our lovely little podcast about ghost stories has helped you guys with whatever it is you're dealing with, and that's wonderful. And I'm glad that hopefully Ghost Maps helps you feel less alone, but in a non-spooky way.
It should be spooky.
In spooky way, but like the not alone part also in a non-spooky way. In a healthy way. Let's put it that way.
Fair enough.
Yes. But yeah. So that's our presents. So if you wanted to buy for us presents, if you wanted to get for us presents, again for Kyle it's 10,000. Oh, already 25%. You reached 10,000.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm looking forward. So please, if you guys enjoy the podcast, the content that we put out, just help us share so that we can see Wayne at the cemetery. That will be really fun.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we'll make it safe. Yeah.
Great. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes. So 10,000 followers on Facebook and Instagram. And for me, differenceengine.sg. Head over there, buy the comic that I co-created about mental health. It's called Worlds Apart.
Nice. So what's the thing that we want to ask them?
That was the thing we wanted to ask them. What
was there a question? Is there a question that we want to ask them?
Was there a question we wanted to ask them?
I thought there was a question.
No, I think we were just asking about like whether they can give us like their favorite birthday stories. But I think we've strayed way beyond the topic of like birthday stories at this point.
Enough. So I'm just gonna address a few more comments.
Yeah.
So RY was saying that RY lives next to the crossroad. Okay. Yeah. So sorry.
Sorry, Ren. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, RY. So then like RY saying that would explain why the temple in Yishun does annual prayers at the cross junction. This part rather has a thick jungle next to the reservoir. Yeah, I think it does, but I think there was a while back ago. I think this was quite a while back. I saw old newspaper reports that there were like a huge amount of graves that were unmarked and there was a huge storm, then the graves actually fell out. So they were
Ooh.
unmarked graves. They were like already at the developed area in Yishun. So it's then they actually built a memorial place there.
And this is near the crossroad.
No, but it's
okay.
it's near the temple actually.
Okay, yeah.
So, but I won't say it's very far from the crossroad. It's somewhere there, and yeah. So like they got its name because of all these like news lah. Like, there was one that they found a freaking coffin underneath an HDB, like it was buried lah. Because while they were building it, they didn't exhume properly, so there was a coffin underneath the lift landing. So when they were doing lift upgrading, they actually found it. Yeah.
I am so glad that when my place had lift upgrading, nothing like that happened. I don't live in Yishun, but like still. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there. I was saying like the graves were found was due to a funerary riding the yeah. Yeah, but like I guess like
It's the worst train ride ever.
I don't know. I think yeah, it is creepy, but at the same time, it's very calming. I can see myself living there.
What, near?
No, Yishun.
Oh yeah.
I can see myself living there.
I mean, like I said, I think its reputation is blown out of proportion. I don't think it's as bad as people claim it is to be. It's just fun making fun of Yishun. I think it's a pastime for Singaporeans at this point.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thank you, Night Angel. Night Angel said, finally caught you guys live. Been catching on dead air while at work. Thank you. We are working hard on creating a backlog, for audio versions of dead air. Yeah. But there's only 2 of us, so we're working really, really hard to make that happen.
Yeah.
Cut them down for Spotify, so you can expect to see dead air on Spotify real soon. Soon as next month.
We're working on that right now.
Next month,
yeah. So we should have the audio versions of that fairly. Yeah, let's just say next month. Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you for tuning in live.
Yeah. So RI was saying like the guy saw the the graves out, urns, and then he was very, very excited. Yeah.
That's not the reaction I have, but fair enough. I understand.
So RI was saying like I've lived there close to 25 years, but oh well, the Florida of SG. I feel like calling it Florida of SG is like makes it less elegant. Okay. Where's that fictional place that Stephen King's like to set his stories?
Oh, Derry in Maine.
Yeah.
Maine's real, but Derry.
So basically, I always felt that Yishun was like a sleepy town in Maine. Some sleepy town in Maine. It's like a sleepy town.
Yeah.
Like it's quiet, it's creepy.
Yeah.
It's mysterious. That's what I like about it.
I feel that's more of an accurate comparison because Florida's loud.
Yeah. Florida's loud.
I will say this. I've never seen an article that says Yishun man was, but you always see like the Florida man did this and Florida man.
Oh yeah.
But you never see Yishun man.
Yeah.
When we start seeing Yishun man, then that's a different story altogether lah.
Yeah, I feel like if like I want to start a writing career, I'll move to Yishun and start writing. Move to Yishun, cycle to a coffee shop, buy coffee, and then just sit there and write.
I have to say, I find Yishun very peaceful. Granted, like you see all the stories that comes up, but I find Yishun very peaceful.
Yeah.
I will still make fun of it because that's what we do in Singapore.
Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, we make fun of it. Yeah. Okay, so this, I think because of the theme of this podcast, I think we will stick to the theme. But I agree with WSA. WSA is saying, Wayne, I just Googled the comic. You must talk about what made you decide to create a comic about mental health. Which he did at the book launch.
This okay, I'll try to keep this answer as short as possible because it's quite a loaded question. But basically, long story short is my partner is an advocate for mental health and my partner is also a caregiver. So, she's a double advocate in that sense. She's an advocate for mental health on a whole, but also she works to get out the word about how much caregivers themselves go through. She was actually on a documentary on Channel News Asia called Altered Lives as well. I think you can find her on YouTube. But yeah, so that's what she does. On top of everything else, on top of being a caregiver, that's what she does. And she inspired me by advocacy, watching her while she's doing this also try to advocate for just a greater understanding of mental health that elevates everybody. You know, everybody is better if we talk about mental health. So the long story short is I was inspired to do this because of her. So I wanted to advocate for the normalization of mental health as well. I wanted to do it my own way, and my own way is telling stories and writing a comic. It also helped that the wonderful team at Difference Engine approached me about it as well. So it was nice. That nice pairing, and they were like, hey, we want to do, because it's part of their series DE shorts, where they talk about like topics that aren't talked about as often. So they approached me to do it, and I wanted to do it anyway. So it was a perfect pairing in that sense. So yeah, the long story short is that
I think it's beautiful. Well, I think it's noble.
Thank you, Chad.
I think Wayne is like trying his best to one up. You advocate, right? You double advocate, right? I will write a comic. No, I'm kidding, but like, yeah, it's not easy.
There's no way I'm gonna be able to one up her. She's way out there.
Yeah, we know that, but it's not easy as creators in Singapore. You know, especially we are like full-time creators to work on a project that is funded to a certain extent, lah. Like even for Ghost Maps, it's not easy, lah, for us to keep up the momentum. Almost 3 years that we've been having episodes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, almost 3 years to keep up the momentum, lah. But that's why listeners and followers like you that make it worth it, lah.
Oh yeah. No, we say it all the time, and we're gonna keep saying it, which is that you guys definitely, like, half the energy we get from writing this, like half of it is like us going, we want to tell stories, but the other half is knowing that you guys are enjoying the stories, that you guys that it brings comfort or entertainment or joy into your lives. That motivates us a whole lot more.
It's a two-way street, Like it's a mutual transaction. So yeah, I really appreciate the support for both of our endeavors.
Thank you so much, guys.
And Awa is like saying like your partner is amazing.
Oh, I agree.
And her appearing on the documentary touched many. I still think about it a lot. You should show it to your partner this episode. Yeah, I think she will appreciate that.
She will really appreciate it. Every time, she's gotten a lot of messages about the documentary, and every time she sees those messages, like, she looks like she's about to cry.
Yep.
Because it really does help knowing, people see the struggle that not just her, but like caregivers are going through.
Yep.
And people, who live with mental health conditions are going through, and it helps her. It helps remind her that she's not alone, and it gives her the strength to remind other people that they're not alone as well. So yes, I'll definitely be showing your ROI. I'll definitely be showing what you said to my partner.
Yeah. ROI is saying that she, ROI is glad to tune in and heard about the comic because wouldn't have known otherwise. Awesome. That's why I told you. Yeah.
Also, all these wonderful ghost stories you've been telling.
Oh yeah. Okay, so last question before end episode. Andrew.
Hey.
Not a question lah. Andrew Leong. You know him?
No, but that's awesome.
Andrew Leong is saying that he's enjoying the spooky chat from sunny 8:30 a.m. California. SoCal. Well, is it SoCal? No, SoCal. No.
I'm glad you're enjoying this at 8:30 a.m. because I have to take like the bus back after this, and it's okay. I probably won't be taking the bus. It's like 11:30.
Yeah, it's 11:30.
But it's still creepy.
Yeah, it's still creepy.
Yeah, it's 11:30 down here, so I'm glad you're enjoying it at 8:30 a.m. because it's creepy for me down here.
Yeah, but anyway, let us know if you enjoyed this episode where we read through Reddit stories.
Yeah.
If this is something that you guys enjoy, we could probably do more of this. When we have episodes without guests lah. So yeah.
But yeah, and it was a nice. We also wanted to do this episode since it's our birthday, so it's a nice celebration where it's just two of us and you guys.
We've got no life, man. Celebrate birthdays by telling ghost stories, all.
No. This is very on brand. That's how we celebrate ghost stories.
Exactly.
That's how we celebrate birthdays.
Yeah. But tomorrow, we will have a small get together with our friends, lah.
Yeah. We'll probably tell ghost stories also.
No, we won't tell ghost stories. We will be going to a very haunted beach, in Singapore, to have a get together, lah. So
yeah. So the atmosphere will be enough to creep people.
Yeah.
Still on brand. And on my birthday, I will be going to get a nice, facial, and I'm gonna get a shave as well. That's also on brand because I'm shaving just to prove to everybody that I am not the Wolfman.
Yeah. You're definitely not the Wolfman.
I am definitely not the Wolfman.
Yep.
I feel like that's a great spot on which to end this episode.
Yes.
What's the takeaway you should take from this? Wayne is not the Wolfman.
Yeah, we're not Wolfman.
All right. Now let's do our closing here.
Sure.
Any more?
No more question.
Okay, cool. So, new episodes of Ghost Maps go online every second and fourth Thursday of the month on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and all major platforms. If you're new to Dead Air, please go check out our Ghost Maps episodes. Like I said, every second and fourth Thursday of the month, we'll have new ones. To make sure you never miss an episode, subscribe now and follow us on social media at We Are HANTU. That's one word, WEAREHANTU. Again, 10,000 followers on Facebook and Instagram, and we're going to be doing an episode of this in a cemetery, and I will be freaked out, and y'all can laugh at that. If you would like to share your own stories that could inspire future episodes of Ghost Maps, you can reach us through the contact form on hantu.sg or message us directly through Facebook and Instagram. You can also be one of our supporters on Patreon at patreon.com/wearehantu. All right. Shall we do this together?
Yes.
As always, 1, 2, 3. And remember, just because they're stories, it doesn't mean they're not true.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks for joining us.
Cheers.